Good evening, everybody. We are back with another Leeds United special. Stacey's already gone.
Stu's face now.
Stu's like, what?
What's
Hi,
that?
Stu. I'll start again.
Welcome to new video.
Dancing to my new tune. Welcome into the Leeds United, everybody's best XI. Make sure we're smashing a like on the video, subscribing to the channel, hitting that notification bell. How are we doing, Stu?
Good, love. Very good. Really good, actually. Yeah. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Lee, how are we doing?
I'm good. Looking forward to this.
Good, man. Stacey, how are we doing?
I'm all good. All good. I'm looking forward to showing everybody's all-time 11 off.
Absolutely. How are we doing, Danny?
Apart from having an absence, I'm all right.
Yeah, Danny's not really well, bless him. Danny's got. I can sympathise with Tuesday. An abscess. Not nice. Not nice at all. Get through some of them comments and then we'll start on the board. It'll be Lee going first, Stu, Stacey, me, then Danny. We've got Coovers as well. He might join us a bit later on. I know he's on stream at the minute. And John Garside. Everybody else can get theirs in the chat and we will go through them as well. Let's get through some of this. Look, Lee's on, I think, 134 subscribers. He needs 16 to get to the magic 150. Let's get Lee on the road to 150. Big up, Nye. Absolutely, make sure I was smashing like and subscribing. Jumboed battered sausage, chips and curry sauce, couple of slices of bread and butter. Chippy was busy. Rhino game's on. I think ladies play first. Hi, everyone. Hope everybody's well. Big up to Scooby. Scooby's in the house. Nye's in the house. Big up to Jules. Jules is in the house. We are Leeds. We are proud. Standing up, singing loud, and there's nothing you can do against the mighty whites. Everyone. Evening, everyone. Evening, 91 Angels. How are we doing? Big up to Marcus. It was supposed to be 9:30, but I changed it because it'd be just too late. By the time we've got through it all, we'll be sat here still at midnight. Yeah. Big up to Alison. Alison's in the house. Big up to John Garside. We've got your team. We'll go through that as well, John. Big up to Dellen, Alison, and Colin Blackshot. Right, Stu and Lee, the floor is yours.
Right. Well, it's Lee's team first, so here you go. Now, this, I promise you that Lee's chose his own team, and you'll see that he's definitely chose his own team when you see players. Right, there we go. That's Lee's team. Right, Lee, start with your goalkeeper, if you will.
That's Michael.
Why did you pick him?
Where I pick him for?
Yeah, why did you pick Schmeichel?
I don't know.
Well, that's a great start, isn't it? I thought you might have said something like, well, his dad played for Man United, but he defined his dad and composed.
Yeah. Yeah. What Cooper?
Cooper, yeah. Yeah, why have you picked Cooper?
He's captain.
Captain, yeah. Yeah. Been through a lot of, correct me if I'm wrong, but in one of his longest serving players we've had at Leeds United as well.
10 years, yeah.
You know, so he's played in most, he's been in top divisions, hasn't he, for us?
Yeah, got Strike.
Strike, yeah. Why did you pick Strike?
He's injured.
He's injured now, I know, but why did you pick him?
Big up, James.
I was fighting. I was like,
you like him as a centre back, right? What? And who else have you gone for?
Oh,
that's Charlie. Charlie Taylor. Yeah. Why did you pick Charlie Taylor?
Why people?
Yeah. Look, you've got to tell people why you pick these players.
He's all right. Yeah, leave him.
Fine, Stu. You can just say
toilet. He's all right.
Yeah.
Let him go while we. Don't you start, Mr. Sheen and Polish.
I don't know.
It'll be good for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So now go on to your midfield.
Which one? What we start for?
Start next to you, then come towards me.
For you.
Rafinha. Why did you go for Rafinha? Kept us.
Kept us up to last season.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Who have you gone for next? Rafinha.
Actually,
Why have you gone for Archie Gray?
was a young kid.
Young kid.
Yeah.
Good player, isn't he?
Yeah.
Next.
Pablo Hernandez
Who have you gone for Pablo?
was a Spanish musician.
Good boy. And who else have you gone for?
Even Ampadu.
Why have you gone for Ampadu?
It's a good statement.
Next to him.
Nonto.
Why have you gone for Nonto?
These fans love him.
Do you love him?
Yeah.
There's tendency to season around, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Right, now your strikers. Start with one nearest to you.
Bamford.
Danny's favourite player. Why have you gone for Bamford?
Well, we get promoted last
Fine.
2019.
Scored all them goals, didn't he?
Yeah.
And who else have you gone for?
Jimmy Beckford.
Where have you gone for Beckford?
When you get promoted in League One.
From League One to Championship?
Yeah.
That is right, isn't it, Danny? He's right in saying that, isn't he? He got promoted from League One to Championship.
Yeah.
So that's Lee's team.
I'm happy he's got my second husband in there. Pascal. I've got a thing for Pascal, the good-looking dude. Yeah, it's a really good team, that, Lee. Really good team.
I like that team.
We spent half an hour looking at your Bowen's goal against Liverpool, your Bowen's goal against Wimbledon, and he goes and picks bloody Patrick Bamford. After all, Patrick Bamford.
Just shows they're different. Because I know, obviously, I've seen everyone's teams, and there is a few surprises in there for a lot of, for myself included. Good team, that, Lee. Really good team.
Really good, Lee. Real good team.
Oh, she's back, is she? I can't see her.
I'm here. Don't worry about that. You don't need to see. You can hear.
Right, I'll get.
If everybody in chat wants to have a go as well, feel free to get your, your best 11 in lineup. Stu next.
Yep.
Over to Stu.
Clipboard ready.
Oh, you need to share it, Jess.
Took me notes.
There we go.
Right, so obviously my goalkeeper, I had to go for Nigel Martin. Come to Leeds in 1996 for 2.25 million. He was British transfer record for a goalkeeper at the time. He remained first choice through the late 90s and early 2000s. He played a pivotal role in their Europa Cup semi-final run, and then in 2000, season after that, he played a pivotal role in the Champions League semi-final as well the following year. He played a total. This is his clubs. He played a total of 571 games in all competitions, and he had 208 clean sheets. So that's why I went for Martin.
Big up, Jim.
Next one, my left back, Peter Lorimer. Lorimer was the linchpin of the great Leeds United side that won the English First Division in 68 to 69 season and 73 to 74 season. He was renowned for his ferocious shooting from long distance. He remains the club's top goal scorer, even though he was not actually a striker. He scored 238 goals in 705 games for Leeds. I tell you that leaves him more than 80 ahead of the next best in the club's history, John Giles. So that's why I picked Peter Lorimer. Then if we centre back, the chief, Lucas Radebe. He was signed as a midweight deal to bring in the fellow South African Masinga to Yorkshire. And it's his expectation when we signed him, our expectations weren't particularly high of Lucas Radebe at the time. But his first appearance came on as a substitute as a right midfielder, and it wasn't until George Graham, because the manager that the player would begin to truly find his feet in English football. He was converted to a centre back and soon became the club captain, flourishing as a defensive leader. He was fast and an effective offensive maker. Radebe also had great timing in the tackle. all of which made him almost unbeatable in one-on-one situations. He remained highly influential during O'Leary's time in charge, and inspired the local band Kaiser Chiefs to then name themselves after his former club. And then on my right back is Jack Charlton. He spent the entire club with Leeds United from 1960 to 1973, helping the clubs to the second division title in 63 to 64. He won the first division title in 68 to 69. He won the FA Cup in 1972. He won the League Cup in 1968. He won the Charity Shield in 1969. Intercities Fair Cups in 1968 and 1971, as well as other promotions from the second division in 1955 to 56, and 5 second place finishes in the Fairs Cup final defeat. His 629 league and 762 total competitive appearances are club records. He was the elder brother of former Manchester United forward Bobby Charlton, who was also one of his teammates in England's World Cup final victory. In the victory, Leeds United supporters voted Charlton into the club's greatest 11. So then we go to his midfield. I had Eddie Gray on my left wing. He had a lot of trickery. Eddie Gray's elegance runs through most pleasing feature of the every table sides. Tall, skinny, playing with a slight hunch. The former left footers it were deceived as it continues to beat an opponent that could testify to that. Technically refined and perfectly balanced, Gray brought a really good touch into the team, but primarily and also in efficiency as well. The centre midfield, I went for Johnny Giles. He had dancing feet, which he were quick thinking. Giles was the unsung hero of Revis Leeds. He joined the club from rivals Manchester United in 1963 for the fee of £33,000 and went on to become one of the finest signings in English football history. His slight physique bellied a competitive streak, which allowed Revie to transform him into a central midfielder, having spent much of his early career on the wing next to Bremner Giles, who would go on to patrol Leeds midfield throughout the 1960s and 70s. Right, next page. Sorry, it's gone on for so long. But when you mentioned starting 11, right? So next to him, obviously, I've gone for David Batty. He was born in Leeds. Batty made his debut for Leeds in November 1987 as an 18-year-old during a 4-2 win over Swindon Town, and quickly earned a reputation as a fiercely competitive midfielder in the mould of Leeds legend Billy Bremner. Next to him, of course, is Billy Bremner. He was feisty, rugged, and passionate. Billy Bremner was the ideal Leeds United captain. He was Revi's enforcer on the pitch and commanding midfield conductor who performed fiercely and acted as an inspiration during the club's greatest era. While notorious for his battling spirit, the Scotsman was also technically adept and a fine passer. He was a tenacious tackler and a non-stop runner. He formed a formidable central midfield partnership with Johnny Giles. The pairings combination of tackling intelligence and unshakable desire for victory, making him hard both to get past and stop. And then it's my 3 strikers now. So, do you know one of these strikers? You know, when I read up about him, I thought, wow, what a striker that was. Let's start with the first one, Alan Clark. Alan Clark is best known for scoring arguably the most valuable goal in Leeds United's history, the winner in the 1972 FA Cup final against Arsenal. He was widely viewed as a critical piece in the Revie puzzle, bringing genuine goal threat up front upon his signing from Leicester City for £165,000. Earning the nickname Sniffer for his poaching instincts and the ability to find scoring opportunities. Clark went on to score 151 goals for Leeds in all competitions, striking up a hugely effective partnership with a hard-working, hard-running Mick Jones. The next striker is John Giles. He was strong, powerful, and tall. He stood at 6'2". John Giles started out perhaps unsurprisingly as a centre-back after joining Leeds from Swansea as a teenager. However, following the rise of performance of the young Jack Charlton in the 1950s, Giles was used as a centre forward. His hulking presence, aerial ability, aggressive running, and nose for a goal made him one of the finest finishers in the world at the time. And after scoring 38 goals in 40 games in 1956 to 57, he moved to Juventus, where he became known as the gigantic Bruno or the gentle giant. He stands as Leeds United's all-time second highest goal scorer with his 157 total goals, battered by only by Peter Lorimer. And then my final striker is this is the one I looked at finding information out on. It's a guy called Charlie Keeley. He was he had a 67% hit rate, strike rate that would any striker in the modern era would be proud of his stats, making him equally impressive reading. He scored on his debut, the last goal in a 3-0 victory, and by the end of the 1927-28 season, he had bagged 18 goals in just 16 games and won those 3 hat-tricks. By the end of his 6.5 seasons with Leeds, after that he joined Derby County, if anyone's interested. Keeley had 10 hat-tricks, a total bettered by John Giles with 11, and once even bragged of 7 for the reserves. He played 160 games for Leeds United, scored 108 goals between 1927 and 1934. And there you go. That's my team.
Thanks, Stu.
You're welcome.
Very in-depth.
Good team.
Very good time. Very good team. Stacey, over to you. She's muted.
Do Danny's, because Russell's walked through the door and these two are whinging. So I'll go after Danny.
I'll do. It's all right. I'll do mine next. Do you want to put mine up, Stacey? I'll do mine next. Get it out of the way. Yeah, I'll do mine next. It's all good. All good in the hood. And then everybody can vote in chat who they thought best lineup were. After I've gone through theirs, I'll style everybody's and go through yours at end, Marcus, and that I will. Don't worry. Give your gums a rest, John saying, Stu.
I have to promise.
Stu, doing the England job. Stacey's confused. Make sure we're smashing a like on the video, subscribing to the channel, hitting that notification bell. So we used to play when we were playing football. I'll be in your team, Leeds. Look what Stacey's doing here. Right. This is my all-time 11. Let me just move myself up a little bit. Stacey's got Stacey down there. So this is my all-time 11. Thanks to my mum because she helped me out with this as well. She did a few and I did a few. So I've gone for goalkeeper Nigel Martin, 207 appearances, no goals. My right back is Gary Kelly. 531 appearances, 12 goals for Leeds United. The centre-backs, which my mum went for, was Norman Hunter. 540 appearances, 18 goals. Jack Charlton, 629 appearances for Leeds, 70 goals. And my left back is Ian Hart, 213 appearances, 28 goals. So you can kind of see where my mum's are and mine are, indeed. So for right midfield, we've got Peter Lorimer, 450 appearances for Leeds, 151 goals scored. Centre midfield, we've got Billy Bremner, 587 appearances, 91 goals, and Gary McAllister, 231 appearances, 31 goals. Also ended up at Leeds United, at Liverpool, sorry. And left midfield, I've gone for Eddie Gray, 454 appearances, 52 goals. And my two strikers, Alan Clark, 273 appearances, 110 goals. And Eric Cantona, 17 appearances, 6 goals, including his loan deal, which was 11 and 3 goals. So, yeah, that's my lineup. A little bit, I suppose, the people are going to look at that and think, ooh, you're not that old for that. But my mum did help me with that one. But yeah, there's mine. And if Stacey wants to put, Stacey wants to put whoever's on next, but that's mine, short and sweet as always.
Sorry about that. Russ just walked through dogs won't stop whinging, so let me get mine up.
Let me star this one, and we'll go through these at the end. Absolutely.
For some reason, it's not showing the it's a share screen. It's not showing the pictures.
It's Stacey a minute, she'll get it started. Yeah, good, James. We'll go through your guys' is at the end.
Why ain't it showing the pictures? What the frick is going on? 1 second, guys. Sorry, computer's not playing ball.
Have you got it, Stace?
It's my computer's being funny. It's not showing the images.
Big up
There
to
we
Mia for
go.
the super chat. Thank you, Mia.
No,
Much
sorry.
appreciated. Big up to Mia. Thank you very much indeed.
See, I can't really go into much details you lot have because I haven't really looked into it properly, to be honest. But these are like some of these players of what I remember when I was growing up following. But it seems like everybody likes Nigel Martin, which I'm pleased for, because I thought I'd only want to have Nigel Martin. For me, he
Big
was
up, Robbie.
class keeper. So I'll keep mine short and sweet, because I ain't gone into details like the other two before me. Obviously, I've got the Chief in there, Lucas Radebe. Love him. Love him, love him, love him. I have done since I first saw him play. Class player, on and off the pitch. I have never heard him say a bad word about Leeds United. Ever. I don't know if anyone else can back me up on that one. So the next slot I've got Lee Bower. Or is it Bowie or Bower? I always get confused, them two. I have a soft spot for Clicky Boy. The way he handled himself on and off the pitch was absolute genius. I miss his, pardon my French, Lee, I miss his shithousery on the pitch. I just miss it in general. I gutty when he went to DC. Mashed that point. Obviously, our boy Dallas, another class player in my eyes. Seeing coming for the championship and how he's brought the boys together. Even when he's not playing, he has travelled with the lads. He's shown his support relentlessly, no matter what. He's there. He's supporting the boys. Can't beat that. And obviously, Gary Kerr, legend.
Go through these at end, Jones.
Just a legend. In my eyes, Gary Kerr's a legend. And then, do you know what? I forgot all the players I picked. It is embarrassing. I'm flustered, sorry. No. Unprofessional, I know. Right, bear me a second, guys. I sent it to Stu. How can I forget Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank? Another player I really, really enjoyed watching when I was growing up. Obviously, Leeds Madhouse. Leeds Mad. And then I've got, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. Why am I so flustered? I am so sorry. I can't forget. I forgot who players next to him. Help me out.
Where we up to?
Lee Boyer.
Is it your Bower?
That's it, your boy. Thank you, Danny. Embarrassing. I will hang my head in shame very shortly. I do apologise. So yeah, your boa. Class player. And obviously, Jermaine Beckford. Even to this day, he's still part of Leeds United. He does the podcast. He does presenting on other channels when it's Leeds are playing. And Eric Cantona. Oh, how can you not love Eric Cantona? Yes, he went to Man United. And I know a lot of people are going to chat, but he went to Man United. But even at Man United, he was a class player. The drop kick. Anyone will never forget that when he drop kicked a fan. I'm sorry, that was I could not help but laugh at that drop kick. To this day, I can still laugh at it. That's my Leeds 11. Oh God, I'm in shame now. Alright, give me a second, Dan. I'll get yours up.
Don't worry, Stace. No.
I was embarrassed. How can I freaking forget?
I like Stacey's formation. Me 1-4-1-5-4.
No. Stu messaged me, but the thing is, right, Stu goes to me. Stacey, where's your goalkeeper? I'm like, Joe, Martin, as in Nigel Martin. He's like, oh. Yeah.
Sixth player on one bloody list.
No, leave me alone. Leave me alone.
And don't worry, I've got everybody else's starred. I'll go through yours at end as well. Don't worry, everybody will get their own say.
Come on.
Don't worry, John, we'll be doing yours after Danny's.
Is John coming on for Danny's? After Danny, sorry.
No, somebody will read John's out.
Oh, okay.
Can't put links in chat.
Yeah. And Danny? Why is he showing yours again?
Injured.
Don't show that, Jess. It's been.
No, I won't. Don't worry.
All right, it's doing this to me.
He did, but he didn't play much at Real Madrid. He was injured, wasn't he? He went there at the same time as Michael Owen. Make sure we're smashing a like on the video, subscribing to the channel. It's in that notification bell.
For some reason, my computer does not want to show up on. Right, stop sharing.
Do you want to share it, Stu?
I've got it again. It's just for some reason my computer does not want to play ball today. And there we go.
Big up to Carol. Carol's in the house. How are we doing, Carol? Let's move Danny up one so we can speak for himself. Let's see.
So, in goal, I've got Nigel Martin. Probably Leeds United's best ever goalkeeper. European nights, some of them saves he pulled off were just immense. Left back, I've gone Tony DeRigo. Anything can get one over on Chelsea. Signs from Chelsea. And wins a championship. The centre backs, I've gone Chief. Came with Phil Masinga, wasn't even meant to sign for Leeds. Just come as a chaperone. Ended up being one of our best centre backs I've seen play. After that, I've got Jack Charlton. The first ever player to stand in front of the goalkeeper to start at a corner. Well, score the goals. Right back, Gary Kelly came to Leeds as a striker. Howard Wilkinson put him at right back in a training match, and he stayed there ever since. Now, my midfield, I've got Rafinha left hand side, but can also play the right if needed to swap. Just the magic that he did when he kept us up. If it weren't for him, we'd have probably got relegated that season. My midfield two of Billy Bremner and David Batty. I don't think anything's getting past them two. If it was today's game, right hand side, box to box midfielder. I'd say have him in Lee Boyer. Got some amazing goals in Europe. Just box to box, loved him. I had his name on my shirt, Strongbow shirt. My front two. Now, if these were playing now, I think these have probably been the most valuable front two in English playing in English football. Tony Yeboah and Mark Viduka. I wouldn't like to be any defensive against them two. And that's my team.
There we go. Do you want to put John's upstairs? We'll go through John's. He did, Dallin. He did indeed. Still a good player, though. Speaks for himself, doesn't he, Eric Cantona? Did very well after leaving Leeds. Stacey looks stressed. She's not used to these polished shows. And this is John Garside's. Stu, do you want to read this one out? You'll probably know more than me.
Can you see it, George? A bit more.
There we go. Right. Hang on a minute. Right, here we go. Sorry, my screen's playing up. Right, we've got Nigel Martin in goal. Speaks for himself, doesn't it, Danny? That's Tony DeRigo, isn't it, on left, Danny?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got Radaby and Woodgate as his centre backs, and then you've got Gary Kelly as his right back. Rafinha. Can I use that?
No idea. Oh, John Sheridan.
John Sheridan, that's it. And then he's got David Batty and then Gary Speed And then his two strikers are Tony Yeboah and Mark Viduka. How good of a player was John Sheridan then, Danny?
Very good player back in late 80s. Didn't seem to work when Wilkinson came in, because before that, when he was, he'd be out on the night before, and Billy Bremner would let him come and go when he wanted, training. But when Wilkinson come in, it just didn't seem to work for him. He couldn't get away with it anymore, and ended up leaving.
And Gary Speed speaks for himself as well, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean?
I would have had Gary Speed in, but it was close. But I had to have Lee Boyer in there, so for me. But yeah, Gary Speed was a close second for me and mine.
And Couvers is Nigel Martin, right back Paul Reaney, centre back Norman Hunter, Jack Charlton, left back Terry Cooper, right midfield Peter Lorimer, centre midfield Billy Bremner, centre midfield Johnny Giles, left midfield Eddie Gray, forward Alan Clark, forward John Childs. And in his other lineup that he gave me, it were Nigel Martin, Gary Kelly, Ferdinand, Woodgate, Ian Hart, Strachan, McAllister, Sheridan, Kewell, Viduka, Yeboah. They're his two lineups that he sent me. And let's get through some members. So Marcus is going Martin, Ayling, Radaby, Janssen, Hart, Bowyer, Howson, Hernandez, Snodgrass, Smith, and Becchio.
Good team, that Marcus.
Stu, Lee, any thoughts on that one?
No, I liked it. It's a team where we know what we're. It's a modern team where we've all seen play, haven't we? We've all seen them play.
Yeah, Snodgrass were cracking.
I think that's what Marcus says in chat as well. It's a team. It's the players who he's watched, who we've seen, like who he's watched. So yeah, I like that.
Big up to me for the super chat. Mr. Tom saying Martin, Radaby, Batty, Decourt, Bowyer, Rafinha, Hernandez, Yeboah, Viduka, Hasselbank, Wallace. Going with the rarely used 1-4-5 formation.
Yep.
Good players.
Good team, that.
Relevant. Dave P's going Martin, Reaney, Radaby, Hunter, Dorigo, Batty, Bremner, Lorimer, Giles, Eddie Gray, and Alan Clark.
Yep.
Good team.
Another good one.
Yep.
And Robbie's going Harvey, Reaney, Woodgate, Hunter, Cooper, Bremner, Giles, Rafinha, Gray, Clark, and Viduka.
Yeah, it's another good one.
That's another good lineup.
How good were Viduka? Viduka were a good player for Leeds.
Viduka, to say we signed him for $6 million from Celtic, it's. I think we got a bargain.
Yeah, we did got a bargain for him.
Mr. Tom saying I considered Rio, Cantona, and Kewell, but realised I'd rather drink acid than include.
Was that because of the way they went?
Yeah, no,
We
time that moves and all.
We have had some world-class players, haven't we, Stu?
You will.
Well, yeah, everybody resented Leeds in the 70s. You know, I remember Coover saying that the reason why opposition clubs, fan bases have resented Leeds is because of how good our team were. You know, it were a jealousy when it come to Leeds. You know, they all wanted that success what we had in the 70s. Who's right? So if you're going to go, if we're going to go all-time 11, right? Manager, which manager would it be for you? If you could pick one manager, who would it be?
Who are we starting with?
Oh.
Stu, you can answer your own question first.
It has to be Don Revie for me. It has to be. Lee, who's been your best manager who you can remember?
I can't remember. I don't know. Oh, Sam Jason.
You like Simon Grayson?
Mm.
Who's next?
Thinking hard.
I know mine is. I'll just say mine's same as Stu's. Mine's Revy.
Oh, he's up top. He's up top now for me, but he's not my era, if you know what I mean. So I'm just thinking about what I've seen. I'm gonna say for me, for when my generation, for me, David O'Leary. I could say Bielsa, but that's too new. But
You wanted to
for
pick
me,
Bielsa?
David
You pick
O'Leary.
Bielsa.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm thinking about, you know, who I've picked in my team, minus
Yeah.
Dallas. You know, around that era. So for me, I'd say David O'Leary.
I'm gonna go Don Revy. Yeah, he was a good manager for Leeds.
He was a good manager.
If I was to do it in order of managers that we've had where we've had good times, it'd be Revy, Wilkinson,
Yeah.
Bielsa, O'Leary.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So O'Leary get picked then? Yay! I was expecting some. No, inch.
If O'Leary had won the Champions League, it'd have been
Legendary.
it'd have been first because no other manager's done it at Leeds.
Yeah.
Well, I were watching a Spurs channel, right, and they were debating this about greatest ever managers, and they say to become an all-time great, you have to win a European trophy to be considered as an all-time great manager.
I don't think that's true. Well, I think it depends on
It's
the
the hardest Champions League's the hardest league to win, isn't it?
Yeah, I get that. But I think it depends on that person's mindset as well. John, see people big chat.
Love that one down below. That's funny. Well, both of them two. Marcus's is brilliant, but so is one below it.
What about David?
What about Dave Hockaday?
Danny?
Yeah.
What about?
You might as well say Paul Heckingbottom.
I think we signed him from a non-league club to come in and manage Leeds United.
But Darko Malovic, he was bad.
Darko Malovic. Yeah, he come from Austria or somewhere.
Mm.
What about Brian McDermott? Do you remember him?
Yeah, I remember when they were rioting outside to get him reinstated.
Yeah.
What about Howard Wilkinson?
Wilkinson is the second best manager for me.
I think so.
What about Dennis Wise then?
Well, Gus Poyet were doing
Dennis Wise.
Gus Poyet, but really manager, wasn't it?
Cheney was off his tits.
Yeah, Gus Poyet did most of that team for that work for that team.
I think so. We've had some owners, though, haven't we? What, Cellino?
Oh, that's some football. Bates. I remember all that shit that went down with Bates, man. Fuck.
GFH Capital Holdings and all that sort of thing. Yep. Bloody hell.
We had Bill Fotherby back in Wilkinson's era. We've had GH Capital. We've had GH Capital, weren't they the Arabs that had no money?
They were a banking group, weren't they? An investment. They were a banking one. Yeah. It was ridiculous.
I think it was the Arabs that had no money, wasn't it? The Qatarians or something that had no money. Yeah, Cellino, we've had Red Rizzani, Peter Ridsdale.
Ridsdale, Jesus. Now we've got to think of it. We've had, should we say, pick a mixed match of owners?
We've had some mad owners.
Oh, tell me about it. So do
I
you
remember
think?
Chilino, you know. Remember when he thought there were bloody cameras spying on him in toilets and everything. He had everything. He had all buildings ripped apart.
Yeah, that was the marching powder that he was on shoe. That wasn't.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
Angels is asking, what did you think of Clough? Was he right to say that about the team? I'll let Danny answer this one.
well, Brian Clough. Brian Clough said that about the team because I'll tell you how it started. Leeds United was playing Derby County in a cup game, and the bus broke down halfway down the street. And as they're walking in, shaking hands, and Revy ignored him, shook his number two's hand, but didn't shake his hand, and that's where the hatred from Leeds United come from with Brian Clough.
Why didn't he shake his hand?
Didn't want him as a
Don't know.
manager. He didn't get. He didn't want us. It would. Don Revy recommended a manager, didn't he? And it wasn't Clough.
Don Revy recommended Johnny Giles to be manager when he left, and they appointed Clough.
Yeah,
and then Clough come in and says every medal you've won, you've won it dirty.
You cheated to get it or something. Yeah, cheats dirty. Yeah.
Jesus, really?
Yeah.
Oof.
What about Gary McAllister as Leeds manager, Stu? What did you think of him?
I remember him when he come to Leeds. I remember when he come, and I didn't think it was going to work straight away. I thought, it's very rare you find a player who comes back as a manager. But I guess the call were put out there, and he saw it as too good to be turned down.
Mm.
You see, McAllister for me come in at the wrong time, like Eddie Gray did, trying to keep us up, and we got relegated both times. Two ex-players coming back to try to keep us up, and not saying they just. I don't think the team was right for both of them at the time, and couldn't keep us up.
Who do you think's the worst manager we've had?
Darko Miljevic.
Jesus Christ. Okaday, Milanic, Thomas Christensen, Uwe Rosler,
Eckingbottom.
Eckingbottom, yeah.
What about Peter Reid?
Bottom, yeah.
Peter Reid, I actually thought was a decent manager. But
for some reason, all these managers who come in, did Neil Warnock and stuff like that when they all come in. They all thought they could get us promoted, but that if they'd have got us promoted, we would have been speaking more highly of them. Like this for sure.
Good evening, Adrian.
I think Simon Grayson would have got us promoted if Ken Bates had stuck his hand in his pocket and got us players.
Well, I think we had a better team that league. That League One team were actually better than what we had in Championship that following season.
God, I'm stricken. Wow.
If Ken Bates had put his hand in his pocket and got us players and that, I don't think we'd have finished 7th. I think we'd have gone up. So
yeah, Ken Bates was tight ass, wasn't he?
And we've also had owners,
like a pound or something.
We've also had owners, the Krasners, which was Gerald Krasner, David Richmond, who I used to work for. His dad owned Bradford City, Jeffrey Richmond. Jeffrey Richmond was part of that consortium. Yeah, they're the ones that took us from GFH and put money in and then sold us to Ken Bates.
So 91 Leeds is saying John Lukic, Tony Dorigo, Chris Fairclough, John McClelland, David Batty, Stephen Hodge, Gary McAllister, Gary Speed, Gordon Strachan, Lee Chapman, Rod Wallace, Eric Cantona.
See, another cat now. That'll do me.
I went Cantona.
Yep.
Hello. I was surprised at that. I'm like, ooh, another one.
It's a good squad that night.
Reason I didn't go
like
for camp night, I thought it wasn't here long enough.
But the mum said, why did she would have picked like Vinnie Jones?
Yeah, but he was only here a season and a half. There was no point picking him neither. I had him in my mind. I had the haircut anyway. I had his haircut when I was growing up.
We got to think about it, like Chris Kamara. How long did he play for Leeds?
About a season and a half. Same with Alfie Haaland. I think he was about 2 seasons.
And he's a legend when he comes back to Leeds that time. He was at Leeds yesterday. Watching on
Bruno Ribeiro. You've got loads of players that played the cup.
Yeah.
Max
Well, I don't
Gradle,
know.
he was a decent player.
Luciano Becchio. I liked him. I thought he was all
I
right.
like Becchio.
Solomon Dakaru.
Who?
Dakaru or whatever they were called.
Yeah, I know who he is, but I thought you said he was a decent player.
He scored that goal. What me and Willie were looking at for half an hour. He were in
Oh.
when they come on as a sub.
Honestly,
B Quirk is asking, how do you guys see the top 3 ending up this season? And be honest. So we'll start with Danny and we'll go around houses. Your top 3, Danny, in your personal opinion.
I see Ipswich winning it. I see Leicester finishing second and us third.
Stacey.
that exactly that. I can see us going in playoffs.
Lee? Your top 3, mate.
Leicester first, Leeds second, and Ipswich third.
Stu?
Top 3 or top 4?
Top 3.
Right. You're not going to like it.
What's your opinion, Stu?
Your opinion, Stuart.
Ipswich, Southampton, Leicester.
All them 3 are possible.
I think we could be 4.
Ipswich, Southampton,
Leicester, and then Leeds. Is that what you think?
Leicester are going to do it.
I'm going to go Ipswich, Southampton, Leeds 3rd, Leicester drop to 4th. In my personal opinion.
Wow.
I've got them other way, 3rd and 4th. I've got them other way, Jess. You know, it's...
The Leicester Southampton game coming up is going to tell the story.
Yeah, Tuesday night's a massive game. Big up audio artisan. How we doing?
I think the next, is it 3 games now? It's squeaky bum time for all 3 of us, really, all 3 teams.
We could be already on back foot on Monday when it comes to Monday night, you know.
Big up Ryan G.
Well, Leicester have got a game in hand, haven't they?
Yeah, that's Tuesday.
Tuesday's game, right. So we really need to win. No, Leicester.
Well, Leicester play on Friday night, though. Is it? Do Leicester play tomorrow night? Tomorrow
afternoon.
Tomorrow afternoon, West Brom.
It's Ipswich who haven't got a game, isn't it? They don't have a game.
It's Leicester got a game in hand.
Ipswich don't have a game till we play QPR.
Yeah. So we play Middlesbrough Monday, QPR on the Friday. Marcus is going Ipswich, Leeds 2nd, and Leicester. That's a good comment by Angels. Is it a must-win?
It is a must-win.
Anybody else? Must-win on Monday?
It's a must-win because if we draw against that and then we get a draw against QPR, all Ipswich need then out of them 3 games is a draw and they're up. So we need to win.
I agree. I do. The only team out of the 4 what's in a little bit of form. Well, 2 teams that are in a bit of form is Ipswich and Southampton.
So Audio's put Leicester look on the slide, 2 L's in a row, and you've got to play West Bromwich Albion and Southampton back to back. I reckon the Southampton
got Coventry and Hull to play though.
I think the Southampton Leicester's game that'll be a fight.
So will West Brom Leicester. That won't be an easy game.
Come on, Brom. It
Yeah, I
is
can see
going to
Leicester
be
took it out.
squeaky bum, nail biting time. These next games for us anyway, because we're going to be watching Leeds and then we're watching Leicester and Ipswich and the Southampton games just to see how they do. So it's going to be like a roller coaster for the next couple of weeks. And then obviously, if we get to playoffs, then we've got more games to go. It's like torch is not going to stop. Look, I don't. If we get playoffs, it's going to be a lot of doubt from the Leeds fans win the playoffs. But we don't need to win it. We do not need to win it. We've already got the trophy. We don't need to win it. If our players just say, "Look, we need to win for second," buzzing. If we get first, which I doubt, I'll be ecstatic. But if we get second, I'll be happy with second.
Marcus, am I right? Is he at Salford now?
Oh,
Matt Smith, is he at Salford now?
Matt Smith.
yeah. Is it Salford? Yeah, is their leading goal scorer?
Oh, well. Big
I
up
thought
to Ryan
so.
G. Big
Right.
up to James. Big up to Ryan. Collins going Ipswich, Southampton, and Leeds to go up in the playoffs.
10 years though, right? Say Leicester don't get promoted. What's that going to do for them as a club?
Well, according to what
Shit.
according to what Locks is saying, because they're taking loans out at start season to thing, they could do a Leeds and end up being down there 10 to 15 years. Could Leicester?
You think? Lucky think that? Jesus. But then the thing is that we've got a massive chunk of money to find, haven't we?
We've got 78 million to find by June, no matter what league we're in.
That's Cat 49 just got eagle. Take it out of their own back pocket. I know they can't do that.
Well, how else do you think they're going to do it?
I don't see it. I reckon 49 just got his check.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They'll it's coming out of them anyway. They've got to pay it, but
Imagine 49. Can we set up a payment plan, please? Couple million a month.
Leeds Angels don't want playoffs. We will not go up. Does anybody agree?
See, we
it
know
depends.
Yeah, sort of.
Depending who's in sixth place. If we finish third, depending who's in sixth place, if it's Coventry or West Brom, I don't fancy us. I fancy us to beat Norwich. I fancy us to beat, I don't know, Southampton, depending.
Alison's saying I reckon it's Leicester, Southampton, Ipswich, and Leeds in fourth.
So you don't believe we're going to get promoted this season, then, Alison?
Angels is saying if we don't go up, at least 6 players will leave.
Which six?
Yeah, let us know which 6 Angels. Big up, Russell. How are we doing, mate? Hope you're well. Yeah, Tuesday night against Leicester. They had Adrian, but not till next season.
Yeah, but they get that point deduction whether they're in Championship or Premiership.
Really? So basically, they're screwing you away, basically, aren't they, really? And what they're getting done for? Is it FFP they're getting done for?
Yeah, they're getting done for overspending in Premiership. Plus, they're saying EFL are saying that because they've come down here now and they've still got players like £100,000 a week wages in Championship, that could possibly be a breach of EFL's as well.
Oh, so they're gonna get their ass spanked then.
They've already got a transfer embargo, so they can't sign anybody. They can't sign anybody's contracts. They can't do anything at the minute.
Oh, really? Ooh.
We got to
So,
believe ultra. Sorry, Stu, you go.
If Leeds don't get promoted, Danny, right? Just say how devastating will it be if we don't get promoted? bearing in mind that this were a 2-year plan, what I'm trying to say is, if it were a 2-year plan, they must have known that if we didn't get promoted this year, they had to find that money. They must have known that in advance.
Yeah, they'll know that in advance anyway. Yeah.
So is it? Look, I want to get promoted as much as next man. I really do, honestly, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. But is it that devastating to Leeds United if we don't get promoted this season?
I don't think it is, to be honest. Look at Bielsa; he didn't get promoted on his first season.
That's the point I was
Got-
going to make.
Won league second season.
I think as a fan base, we're going to be disappointed, obviously.
Yeah.
But as a whole, at the club, it's not good. I don't think it's going to do much effect. Like you said, it's a 2-year plan. And then I just think it this way. Look what Farker's done in his first season. You know what I mean? Look where we are currently. Look what he's done for the team. Look what he came into. The chaos that was August. Did any of us back in August think we'd be at this stage in the championship? I know I didn't.
I didn't either.
I think that's what we've got to take away from this. Yes, we didn't get promoted. Kuba's just coming. We don't. Yeah, it's gonna be upset. It's gonna be
If you jump on and go through your team, you're more than welcome, mate. We've already done all ours.
We need to take away the fact that how far we've come this season alone, and just think what we could accomplish next season.
Has Leeds Angel said which players leave yet?
No, get your players in, Angels. It's all good. We can have a bit of a debate on this. I mean, Adrian's saying their Leeds don't get promoted, you may lose some of them.
Oh yeah,
I think we only lose 2 players anyway if we don't get promoted.
We'll lose more than that if we don't get promoted.
No,
it won't be just 2 players.
I agree. I think if we don't get promoted, we'll lose a few of them.
I think for me, we'll lose Somerville and Nonto.
Yeah, I agree. Nonto and Somerville are gone.
And maybe more, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, but we're going to buy Ruta for the price that we paid for him, Stacey, because they'll want the money back, more or less.
Somebody might be willing to take a punt on him, though, don't I? To be quite honest.
One of our biggest players I think we are going to lose, and it's not going to go down well, but it's actually great. We're not if we're a championship player, if we're in championship next season, and he's got the chance of going to a German club, into semi-finals of Champions League, is this regardless of what Bayern Munich do now. I don't know how you can. I don't know how you can turn them down. I really don't. And it's not like Bayern Munich aren't like Man City. Bayern Munich are pretty. Most German clubs are pretty good with the. Look at what they did with Sancho, Bellingham. These German clubs. It's not like it's going to be getting lost in system or all. I think they will try and nurture him through into the first team.
I think he'd be better going to Dortmund than Munich, to be honest, but that's my opinion.
I think he'd be better going to Dortmund. I think you're right there, Donny. Because they're known for bringing young players through. Oh, cool.
Hey!
Hello there. How's everyone doing?
Doing good.
Yeah, good.
I swore this was going to be a 9:30 start. I was taking Bobby K and I had just been streaming. We were really taking our time.
Don't worry, it's all good.
Never mind. Why rush things through in an hour when you can spend an hour and 50 minutes talking crap?
There's your team. Would you like to go through yours?
Not whatsoever. No. Yeah, I kind of I've sent you a couple of teams, really, haven't I? I've done the
left-hand side one.
Yeah, I'm going with this one. This easy enough to talk through anyway. Because whether it's an all-time 11 or the best that I've seen in my lifetime at Leeds, that would be one of my teams as well. Nigel Martin at the back goes in both teams as far as I'm concerned. I think this bloke's one of the best goalkeepers that's been in the Premiership era, well, any era. I think the very fact that he got 20-odd England caps at a time when a legendary David Seaman was England's #1 speaks volumes already. If it wasn't for David Seaman, you'd look at Nigel Martin again, pushing 100 caps easily. I think he just had everything, absolutely everything about him. When Crystal Palace signed him from, I'm trying to think who they signed him from now. Bristol Rovers, I think it might have been. They broke the British transfer record for a goalkeeper, paid $1 million for him at the time, and it was money well spent. He just got better and better. And then when he went to Leeds, he just took it to the next level. He reached his peak form with Leeds. I think the fact he started as a youngster playing with in the outfield, he's a midfielder, and then he got converted to playing in goal. It showed. He was so comfortable with the ball at his feet. No weakness to his game whatsoever, and he was just Mr. Dependable. I think he was absolutely fantastic for you. One of my favourite goalkeepers, certainly. Would have graced most sides in the world at that point. Yeah, what more can I say? True great of the game. I'll carry on then, shall I?
Yeah.
The floor's yours. The floor's yours.
Okay, fair enough. I'm trying to have a look at did I make any notes for some of this? Well, we're going to the back four as well. I mean, if we're talking all-time greats, you've got to look at Leeds, that early 70s team. That is legendary in anybody's book. I mean, for someone like me, I wasn't, I was too young for this lot. But I spent so much time talking to my dad about what football used to be like and the other great sides in the game. We talked loads about Leeds, and you're talking when you're talking the players that roll off the tongue. It's always going to be that Leeds midfield for me. But at the back, you've got Terry Cooper there, left back. I don't know too much about him other than my dad said you just put him in your team no matter what. It's just one of these solid players. He never lets you down kind of player. You don't get too many of those nowadays. I think the centre-back pairing, let's see, we got Norman Hunter is a legend in his own right. What do they call him? Bite your legs Hunter, was it? Something like that. I think he's this absolutely colossal centre-back. Really bad reputation for hurting people, but he could play as well. He knew his job. He's the sort of player you build championship-winning sides on. I think you pair him with the likes of Jack Charlton, who's also, got this. He's worth his reputation. They are players that big men, powerfully built men, could put themselves about, take control of situations, and just gave you that solid base at the back to which to operate from. So I mean, Jack Charlton, World Cup winner as well. So I mean, you can't really ignore that kind of talent. So then that brings you on to right back. One I do not know much of, I must admit, but my dad said he was a hell of a player. And that's Paul Reaney, is it?
Is the only man to mark what's his name? Played for Manchester. George Best out of the game.
That says it all, really, doesn't it? We used to say the same thing about Maurice Norman at Spurs. He was the one that basically effectively ended Stanley Matthews' career, not through injury, just that he made him look average. So I'm assuming you're talking the same sort of thing with George Best here. That's a hell of a accolade straight away. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we tended to talk more about the other players in the team. I just remember this name coming up again and again.
Yeah,
my dad said he wasn't fond of Leeds because there was kind of a rivalry going on with the likes of Billy Bremner and Dave Mackay. My dad was a huge Dave Mackay fan, so he took a dislike to Leeds through that. But I mean, that's kind of a petty way of doing it. But you understand it when you when you fall out with a player just because of what's happened on the pitch. That's fair enough, part and parcel of the game, isn't it? But I mean, going on to the midfield then. Very easy to pick your all-time 11. It's got to be from that era, and that's Lorimer, Billy Bremner, Johnny Giles, Eddie Gray. That's any football fan that's studied the history of the game in this country is going to know those players. They're all of them household names. Going back over the years, there's no doubt about it. You're talking about some of the all-time standout performers of their generations. So, I mean, we'll talk off, first of all, I'd say, let's start with Billy Bremner, because he is, without doubt, in my opinion, your greatest ever player. I think most Didier fans are probably going to say the same thing, especially if they're from that era. He was only 5'5", but he put himself about like he was a man much bigger and much more powerful. Got stuck in anybody, utterly fearless, ran his socks off all day long. He scored a lot of goals as well, I believe. I think he got over 100 goals. He's what, 700 appearances, 100 goals, something along those lines. That's phenomenal.
Wow.
And all of it at the very top of his game, both for Leeds and Scotland. So he's that player that ran everything, ran the show basically. But what he was blessed with, he was surrounded with absolute quality alongside him. Johnny Giles, again, legendary. It's a running theme with your midfielder that era. They all scored a lot of goals individually. It made up for some of the forwards perhaps not being the most legendary compared to others. For example, some of you Leeds legends over the years, it's very rare you'd see anybody that's like a Jimmy Greaves or a Gary Lineker or somebody that's going to hit 40 a season. It tended to be the midfield that was always the source of your regular goal output, and you just had really good forwards that worked with them well. So Billy Bremner, Johnny Giles, same sort of thing. My dad said Eddie Gray, he would have loved at Spurs because he thought he was the most naturally gifted of the lot of them, which says something because my dad's a huge fan of like John White and the Super Spurs sort of era that he saw. To say that one of your players would have graced the pitch with those as well, I thought that spoke volumes to me. So I always remembered the name. And again, it's another one of these players that a hell of a lot of goals to come from it. I believe he would have had a lot more caps. I think he's one of these players that just suffered with a few injuries and kind of hampered his career. I think he would have ended up with a lot more medals, a lot more accolades if it had happened, if he'd stayed fit otherwise. But that's the way it goes with a lot of them. He's just a bit of everything, superbly talented player, and it made that legendary midfielder of yours there.
Yep.
Who's left? Peter Lorimer. Peter Lorimer, first time I ever heard his name is my dad's talking about his shooting power. He said he could really hammer a ball home from 100 yards out. So it's that goal output again. Another player, I believe, all of these players were like well over 500 caps or something like that for Leeds, weren't they?
Played for Leeds. Made his first team debut at 15.
Yeah. Well, his whole career at Leeds as well, was he, or nearabouts?
Yeah, I think.
I mean, they're racking up stupid amounts of games. When you're doing that and you're playing for a team that's right at the top, you've got to be a special player just to hang on to your place at that point. You talk about it. I know you won't like the team I'm mentioning, but you look at the likes of Scholes and Giggs at United. They did the same sort of thing, played way beyond the years that other players are retiring at because they could still maintain those levels. They're just quality. You have 4 players there all doing it for Leeds at this point. So
Yep.
Lorimer again, how many, he must have scored an awful lot of goals, couple hundred goals for Leeds, is it?
I think it's 270 something, I think.
Yeah,
151.
that is a
151
fair old
Lorimer.
haul. Considering your midfield as well, that is a lot of goals. You rarely see that nowadays. Lampard used to score a lot, but when you got that kind of regular input from that midfield, it drives the whole team. So that's what I'd say on those lot. That brings it to the forwards. I'll start off with Alan Clark, Sniffer, I think was his nickname, if I remember rightly.
Yep.
And he was one of these players that I think teammates and the manager appreciated him more than perhaps other teams did. He didn't hit those, colossally big numbers for a season, but he'd chip in with the 15, 20 goals, and he was always involved with it and always helped he'd get those important goals every now and then when people are struggling. Sometimes you need somebody up there that's going to take a few hits and allows other players to play around them, and he seemed to do that for the team and just have a knack of coming up with the really important goals. So that's what I really know about him. But then it does lead me on to my other contender for probably your best player ever, which would be I've just talked him up and now I've forgotten the name again. John Charles.
Yeah.
And a legend in his own right. He's got to be Wales' best ever player, surely, as well. And a man who was described as being able to kick the ball with his head. He was an absolute monster of a man. Huge player, incredibly powerful. But not only was he a world-class centre forward who scored a hell of a lot of goals, he could easily drop back into the defence and still be the best player on the pitch. It's just, that is an amazing talent to have. He was feared, he was respected. Everybody in the game of football who follows football and knows a little bit about the history of it knows that name. Jumps off the page at you, along with Billy Bremner for me. I think that's somebody who every team would drool to have somebody like him playing for them. I think him and Bremner, they are the two outstanding ones. But anyway, that's my kind of take on all the older players that were even before my time. That's how much they influenced the game of football in the top division. That I know what they all did, and I've got an appreciation of all the goals and the attributes of some of these players, and they're just fantastic. I'd say Billy Bremner is the player that surely every team would want to have, because he'd give everything for your team. And not only did he bring all of that combative sort of playing style together, he was a great player as well. And the fact that fans and opposition alike, you can all see exactly what he got with him. He just elevated things. He's the one that drags you through the difficult games. So a lot of admiration for him. And that 70s Leeds side is infamous. Well, both famous and infamous. Don Ravy side, let's face it, was hated by most other people, but I think that's because there was a hell of a lot of admiration for them, jealousy. There was they were really doing their thing and dominating teams. Could have won more. Had some sensational sort of seasons where they're challenging from all fronts and just falling short on some, but they still won a bucket load, and they'll always go down in history as one of the greatest sides. So there you go. That's my roundup on old school Leeds from a neutral point of view. So,
could you just imagine if they were playing on pitches nowadays and not back then?
Oh, some of those would just wipe the floor with players nowadays, wouldn't they?
Oh yeah.
On the pitches now.
Look to see how Norman Hunter got on with today's rules. He'd be sent off all the time. I think a lot of these players, though, when they get known as hard men, they're much better players than they're given credit for. Yeah, that's an all-time classic photo, isn't it?
Yeah, Steve brought it up.
That doesn't matter if you whether you're Leeds or Spurs or Derby County or anybody. It doesn't matter if who you followed with at the time. That's just one of those great photos. Everybody recognises it. Pretty much everybody. It's like Gaza being grabbed by Vinnie Jones and things like that. It just some just stick then they last the course of time. Of course, yeah, Bremner there, he would have upset. I think this is the story goes on here that Dave Mackay, who's an incredibly hard player in his own right, he'd come back from a broken leg at that point, if I remember rightly, and he took exception to Billy Bremner, giving him a very sturdy challenge, to say the least. So that confrontation sparked off. And we're talking about Billy Bremner being a hard man himself. And he's just, that's the kind of the aura of Dave Mackay at the time. You don't mess with him. It's like the all-time coming together of colossal players. The fact they're both Scots as well, and presumably, how did Scotland not go winning the World Cup when some of the talent they had? Amazing.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if anyone's going to agree with me, but back then, the game of football was a lot more brutal. I think it was more like a tough man thing. You know what I mean? I don't think, I could be wrong, but for me, I see that back then is they got taken down, doing on this theatrics of roly-poly all the time and stuff like that. They got a tackle, they got to brush it off and carried on.
Yep. Bundle a goalkeeper into the back of the net with force, that's fine. Go tackle through the back of a player was just a standard thing you did. You look at the likes of George Best coming off the pitch sometimes, and he'd roll down his socks and he'd show the state of his legs because he'd been fouled so much. I think that might have been against Leeds in particular, one of these games. I think Norman Hunter had got hold of him a bit, and it really put him through the meat grinder. But you could do it back then. It really was a man's game.
Like players have lost teeth and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. It's like
Some players,
themselves through the ringer.
Some of the players back then, though, for different teams, like Ron Chopper Harris, and you know what I mean. You had Jimmy Greaves. You had, you know what I mean.
Every team tended to have their hard man, didn't they? I mean, we saw it even going through to the 80s and a little bit into the 90s as well. We still had the likes of Roy Keane turn up occasionally. Oh, hang on, that's what I was going to do. I was going to talk about all the ones that are that if you're all right with it, me talking about your team. It's all the ones that I'd in my lifetime I'd seen at Leeds in comparison, because it's them I know a lot more about because obviously I saw them more often. You know, and funny enough, as it happens, Nigel Martin would be still the goalkeeper. Like I said, he was just fantastic.
He seems to be a lot popular with Leeds fans. I was shocked to see him. I was expecting more goalkeepers to be picked, but I was really pleased with Nigel Martin in more or less every single one of them.
I'm aware of like players like Gary Sprake and players like that, but and of course you can't ignore them when they're part of successful teams from the 70s. But you know, when you just see him, you just think, nah, could somebody be better than this? It's going to take some player. For me, natural progression at Spurs would have been going from Pat Jennings to Ray Clements, and then looking after that, I desperately wanted us to get David Seaman, but he ended up going to that other lot. And like I said, David Seaman's the only reason that Nigel Martin didn't get far more England caps, because they were around at exactly the same sort of time frame. And I think Nigel Martin had his career ended relatively early as well, didn't he? For a goalkeeper, anyway. Because quite often they'll go on till 40, and I thought he could have done it, but I think he had an ankle injury. Cut him short a little bit. Sorry.
That's when Paul Robinson took over.
Yeah, that'll be right. Another good goalkeeper. But England tends to wreck goalkeepers, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So many have ended up with big injuries or massive loss of form after playing for England. But anyway, let's go for the current, more recent right backs. One of my favourite ever Leeds players, because I used to play fullback so often, Gary Kelly. What a right back he was. Absolutely loved that bloke. Everything about him. Quick, fearless. He worked his socks off for the team every time. Consummate professional. Oh my God, I would loved him to have been a Spurs player. Everything I loved about it. Everything I loved about the way a fullback should play, summed up in him. And heart of a lion. He was Leeds through and through as well. He gave you everything all the time. I can't believe there'd be any fan that would look back at his career and have any criticism about it. He just gave you absolutely all of it.
He gave us 100%.
Sorry, what's that?
I said he gave us 100%.
Oh, absolutely, and extra. I think centre back pairings. Well, start off with the first one. I mean, got to give shout outs to the likes of Chris Fairclough, did really well for you. Even Dominic Matteo for a bit. Reasonably good players, but you've got to look at the standout ones in my lifetime. Rio Ferdinand, you can't ignore him. Just a quality player, absolute quality player. That team that O'Leary had assembled back in the 90s for Leeds, that was some team. I used to love watching them. Really did. Had that beautiful balance and skill to it all. A bit of grit and determination. Rio Ferdinand's been one of the best centre backs in recent memory, without doubt. But I'd also like to say Jonathan Woodgate. He's got to be right up there. If that bloke's career hadn't been plagued with injury, we'd be talking about one of the greatest of all time, in my opinion. I thought he had absolutely everything. Dominant in both areas, tackled, read the game. He had a confidence about him that you don't see in a lot of other players, even as a youngster. You could see it just jumping off the page at you. I think, when he went to Real Madrid eventually, and people saw that as a bit of a surprise. But I mean, if he'd really been paying attention to the game in this country, you would have known Woodgate has the potential to be absolute world class. I think real shame he got injured so much. I mean, when he came to Spurs, he was still great for us. Won us a trophy as well. Gotta love him for that reason alone at Spurs. Yeah, I think he was just liked everywhere he went. You knew what he got from him. He's an old school centre back, but he's got the talent of more of the modern players. I think he was good on the ball. He had just had everything. Other centre backs though, got to give a shout out to the South African Lucas Radebe.
Yeah.
He didn't play as often for Leeds as I thought he had. He just gave me that impression he'd been there for like 300 games or something, but it was only really a couple of seasons. I think it was another one hit with injuries, wasn't he? But he just had captain material written all over him. He was real colossus at the back there. Even I think that would have been that same sort of time when Ferdinand was there and Woodgate perhaps as well.
Yep.
Perhaps that's limited his options at his playing time at that point as well. So when he did step into the team, I just thought, wow, that's a powerhouse. I really admired him. Yeah, I mean, Fairclough and Matteo did their part as well, but they're not in the same sort of bracket as those others, I think. But that sorry, go on. Oh no, sorry, I thought you were going to say something. That brings me on to left back, and first of all, my instant go-to would have been Tony Dorigo. Oh, I just love the bloke. He just flew forward so often. I just love that style of play. But the more I thought about it, I got swung by Ian Hart, because I remember that the Champions League run when he got to the semi-finals, and he was playing in that run. And I think that season, he was one of the finest fullbacks I've ever seen. He was just head and shoulders above everybody at that season.
I've never seen him play, so.
Oh, he was absolutely fantastic player. Great at set pieces. That's what people remember him a lot for. Scoring free kicks and just chipping in with the goals. But he kind of fell off a bit towards the end of his career. He was getting caught out defensively a lot. But I think if you're playing with great centre backs and you've got great midfield anyway, to hell with defending. Just bomb forward, do what you do best. He was one of the greatest proper wing backs, I'd call him. It's probably more in an era when it was more attacking wing back than before the term was really used. He was the old school fullback, but he just got forward for it. But him and Dorigo, either of them, absolutely love them. It's my kind of footballer entirely. Brings me onto the midfield then, and to start talking about the likes of. There's an era. There was that 90 round about 1990. He'd just come up from the old second division. You'd bought an aging Gordon Strachan. You got Gary McAllister came alongside him, and then you had the two powerhouses holding it all together with a young David Batty, and then R.I.P.
Lead.
Yeah. We are talking about the kind of midfield that's got a beautiful balance written all over it. Skill, flair, determination, experience. You've got Batty, who's a local lad, giving it everything. A snarling little fighter of a player. I love that about him. Really upsets oppositions. He kind of elevated himself to being one of your best as far as I'm concerned. I could imagine as Leeds fans, you must have loved watching him play. It just absolute fire in his belly every match. I think he won the title with you as well, didn't he? He must have with you in that midfield. Yeah. But then you had Gordon Strachan coming towards the end of his Man United career. For some reason, they got rid of him. I think he's one of the best signings you ever made. The bloke was genius. He was just so good on that right wing, so creative, so full of endeavour. He brought the best out of players alongside him as well. With Gary McAllister basically pinging the ball around for fun and showing what a quality footballer he was. The other two just really had to roll their socks, roll their sleeves up, and get on with it. Do the hard graft, which they certainly did. So you had a really exciting midfield back then. Funny how you've actually had some really good teams followed by some very bad times straight after it. It's kind of been a history since I remember.
Yeah.
I'll give a shout out to there's a player called John Sheridan as well that I quite liked back in the 80s, but I think that was more when you were a second division side trying to get promoted. I think he finally did manage to drag you up. He was another one of these players that, he put his heart and soul into the team. Didn't get to watch him very often because obviously he wouldn't have been on TV so much, being old second division player. But whenever I did see bits of him, clips of him, or whether it was FA Cup or whatever, or even talking to other people about him, it was always the same thing. He's just one of these players you want to have in your side, drives you forward. So I had a lot of respect for him at the time. So growing up as a teenager, he's a name that kept popping up. I remember Spurs being interested in back in the days, and that's why I probably did take an interest in what he did. But compared to the others, forget it. You're talking some big names otherwise. Harry Kewell, another great player. He's got to be worth a shout out as well. And that kind of leads you on to the forwards after that. I mean, I should say Gary Speed. Got to mention Gary Speed more. I've only briefly did it, even had the disrespect of forgetting his name, but I shouldn't have. What a player he was. He was just every club he went to, lived and breathed the game. Who wouldn't want him in their side? And as part of that midfield quartet I was talking about, he was just fantastic. Him and Batty. They gave the grit and determination to go with the flair and the creativity of the others. Are just all round great players. So then that just sort of leaves more modern forwards, because I mentioned Alan Clark and obviously John Charles up front as your all-time greats. I don't think you've had anybody even remotely is going to touch those sort of players. They're legendary for the club. But the ones I saw, Mark Viduka, absolutely loved him. Big, powerful forward. It's so much more talented than he was ever given credit for, in my opinion. I thought he was very good with the ball at his feet, and a good awareness of other people around him. And Tony Yeboah, oh my God, how explosive can it possibly get? Some of the goals he scored will just get played over and over again forever. They're just unbelievable ones. So these are absolutely blistering shots from the edge of the area where he scampered past a couple of players and then smashed it in off the underside of the bar. Love it. Absolute showcase sort of stuff. So I've got a soft spot for him as well. To go with him, to go with those sort of ones, I mean, I look at players. I remember Joe Jordan, but I don't really remember him being at Leeds. I know he would have had a big reputation. I'm sure he would have been well loved at the club at the time. But there is one through the 80s and 90s, and he won a championship with you that I really admired, was Lee Chapman.
Yeah.
Really good all-round player. So intelligent, so good at holding the ball up, great in the air. He just did that little bit of everything you needed. And it again, when we're talking about great Leeds midfield, he's the sort of focal point up front that allows everything to happen. That's the sort of player you're crying out for right now. He knew how to find the back of the net though as well. Always did. Got some England caps, quite deservedly so. And he's just an intelligent all-round player. It's like a little bit of the Teddy Sheringham's about him in that respect. He knew how to use his strength. He knew he wasn't the quickest player on earth, but he knew where to be. You can't teach some of those skills, positional sense and instinct of being in the right place at the right time. Just awesome. Somebody saying in the chat, yeah, Smith up front. Yeah, I like Smith, but I never thought he was quite up there with the rest of them.
Rod Wallace as well.
Sorry, who as well?
Rod Wallace.
Oh, Rod Wallace. Yeah, it's another name that pops up. Did really well for you. From my point of view, I don't think he's up there with the others though. He does a solid job for you at the time, but some of these others really jumped out of the page for me.
That goal he scored against Spurs though were beautiful.
I've got to say mostly anything during that era? Well, Robbie King was there with you, Robbie King as well. Yeah, but I thought that era with David O'Leary in charge, that's one of the most enjoyable sides I've watched in recent era. It's so sad seeing you down where you are compared to that. I mean, Leeds have a reputation amongst lots of other clubs, as you know. You know, a lot of people will hate you, as they do with Spurs. But I just think if you can put all the animosity aside and take your sort of rose-tinted goggles off, just look at what's there. You had a hell of a side back there. That was a real credit to football. Really wanted you to go on lift the European Cup then, but sadly didn't happen. I think it was Valencia eventually put you out, and it was a 3-0 loss. It was a painful one, but you'd done so well getting that far. I just sort of fell away at the end. It's the trouble when you go a long way in multiple competitions. You need that squad depth, and perhaps you just literally ran out of steam then. But there we go. That's all my neutral take on the best I've seen at Leeds. Don't know how that fits in with you as Leeds fans. I'll have to go back and watch.
Really enjoyed that.
No,
really
I could sit back here and listen to you talk about Leeds. I know you're a Spurs boy, but I could literally sit with a cup of coffee and listen to you talk about Leeds. To say you're a Spurs fan, the knowledge you had is.
It's the same as anybody. I mean, if I talk to Stu, we talk about Spurs in the 80s or something, or 90s. He'll know a lot.
Stu's got a couple of questions for you, Coover. I know Stu's got something he wants to ask. Go on, Stu, fire away.
Right, Coover, you've been kind enough to do the Leeds United all-time 11, right? But if you can just picture who your Spurs all-time 11 would be, where would you fit in into your all-time Spurs 11?
No.
You wouldn't?
You wouldn't?
I love
What would your all-time 11 be then, Coover, for Spurs? Because it'd be interesting.
Just off the top of your head.
Off the top of my head, Pat Jennings in goal.
Away, but I'm listening.
Okay, Pat Jennings in goal. When I was a little kid, I was lucky enough to meet Pat Jennings after a game, and I just remember him coming up to a crowd of us as little kids and showed us his hands, and they were the biggest bear paws I've ever seen in my life. It was almost scary, and he just had this calmness and a reassured voice to him. I could have just watched him all day. He sort of glided around, made things look easy, but even he was a little bit before my time. I just saw the very end of his career, and then had to go through this painful process of watching him play for that noisy neighbours down the road in North London. That was bad. So Pat Jennings in goal, certainly. It's difficult then to go past a lot of the Super Spurs teams from the 60s, but so I'm going to kind of go with the really iconic ones that would be in midfield, like Dave Mackay. Jimmy Greaves up front would have to get in any team too, and I think you're then looking at players that I haven't really seen much except for little bits of footage, but I know all about the reputation about them. So I don't really want to go too much on that Super Spurs side, because it's part of our history, and I kind of feel like everybody knows what that's all about. So I'm going to go for more contemporary ones because people will know the names better, especially coming to a Leeds channel. So I will go at all-time greats for me. Steve Perryman as the captain. I'll go Glenn Hoddle in midfield. He was just one of the greatest ball players I've seen. When I say ball players, not like in the American way of saying it. I mean, his ability to pass a football was just legendary. I've never seen one to match him. Closest I've possibly seen is Paul Scholes. Another one of those names you don't want to hear too often again. Yeah, he was right up there. Ozzy Ardiles always gets a mention. Ricky Villa. The whole side from the early 80s. Graham Roberts, one of my all-time favourite players. That's your kind of cross between your Norman Hunter and your David Batty type. That's somebody that doesn't like losing and doesn't mind putting his foot in on people or the ball. But you need that kind of grit sometimes to get over the line. But we've been blessed with so many forwards that are great over the years. Klinsmann, Sheringham, Lineker. Clive Allen had a season where he hit 49 goals, and he doesn't even get into my consideration for greatest ever. Harry Kane. We've had so many. Berbatov was an amazing player too. But I'll look at the ones in recent years. You got to start looking at Gareth Bale as one of the wingers. Everybody knows what he's about. We've had Ginolas. We've had the likes of. I'm trying to think where to sort of structure this from. Let's go say right back. Stephen Carr for me was my favourite right back. I know a lot of people will say Kyle Walker because of his athleticism and everything, but Stephen Carr for me was the attacking wing back. He got forward so much, created so much for our team. Loved it. I'll put him up there as my favourite, if not in my lifetime, probably the best I've seen there. Left back, I'd have to go for Chrissy Houghton, back in the 80s, the cup winning sides. Just another one of these players that instinct for going forward and turning up in the opponent's box on a regular basis, which was an unusual thing for fullbacks back then. They just had an instinct for it. Centre-back pairings in recent years, even though we only had him for sort of season and a half, Richard Gough back in the 80s. A lot of people will know him from his later stints when he came back to went off to Rangers and then back to Everton and featuring in the Premiership. But he was an amazing player. Should have been captain for us for a long time. Ended up having to sell him because of the trouble we got ourselves into financially, which as Leeds fans, you'll know all about that sort of thing. His pairing with Gary Mabbutt was absolutely fantastic back in the 86-87 season, where we nearly won everything but ended up with nothing. I always look back at that team very favourably. But yeah, of course, Adrian's going to be the one to talk to when he talk about Spurs players for over the years. Because he's literally seen the team more than I have there. Yeah, if I go at all-time greats, there's going to be very few that you go beyond that 60s, early 70s team, isn't there, Adrian? Sure you'd agree with that. Let's say midfield, you can't ignore the likes of Paul Gascoigne. Just an incredible footballer. Literally Roy of the Rovers at his best, and remains the only footballer I've seen in this country that's actually inspired mania amongst the public. The Italia 90 World Cup, where people were out in the streets in frenzy about us getting through so far in the competition. We all thought we were going to win it. We all thought Paul Gascoigne was going to get us there, and it didn't quite happen. But the country went absolutely wild about him. I've just not seen that with anybody else. So he's an absolute genius player. I love watching him. I've got to find a way to get him in my all-time team one way or another. I have to. The rest of it's kind of contentious, and there's just been so many that I could put in recent times. So I'm just reverting. It's always going to revert back to that 60s team as being the greatest. If you're dominating the other teams around you by that much, you're going to struggle to find players that are better. So Terry Dyson, John White. John White most possibly, my dad said he was going to be the best player Spurs ever had if he wasn't struck down tragically by lightning. He was going to take over from Danny Blanchflower, who was the captain of the double winning side. But it's another one of these players, just silky smooth skills. The ghost of White Hart Lane, he was just turn up and wreak havoc on the opposition all the time. So another genius player that was taken away from the game too early, tragically. You just look at any team, any club in the country. You talk to the fans that have been there for a long time. They will always remember those players that get you success, and they'll always remember them fondly. If you're doing it over a period of time, anyway, the odd cup win, like winning a Carabao Cup, and once every 20 years or so. That's not what sustained success is about. You want eras, don't you? Don Revie's era, and the great Bill Nicky's era, and Birkinshaw for us as well. Pick any of the players out of those, you can put together a good team. So that's basically. I think I would have to think long and hard about creating that list about my greatest ever Spurs team, because there's so many. I would be, how do I fit this player in? How do I not pick him? I mean, when I'm talking about, I probably wouldn't even have Harry Kane in my best 11. That's how much talent we've had over the years. I honestly think Dimitar Berbatov was a better player, and Gary Lineker was awesome, and Archibald and Crooks back in the 80s were brilliant for us. Yeah, I think would Harry Kane have gone back into those eras and done as well? Yeah, he might have, but I just couldn't see it with a lot of them. It's just circumstances. Quite often the players don't stay at a club long enough for you to really get the full benefit from them. But we see Luka Modric. Remember him as a Spurs player, but it's only after he left that he really started dominating the European football, isn't it? Because it's Madrid. It's what happens. Same with Bale. Great for us. Absolutely brilliant player. The best in the Premiership, and then he's gone all of a sudden. So sometimes your heroes or your favourites for your best 11s are the ones that just stay there for a long time. Never knock those kind of players. That's why I always think, the likes of Batty, he would have been even more of a Leeds legend if he had stayed, but he did move on, didn't he?
He went to Blackburn, Newcastle, and then back to Leeds, wasn't it?
Yeah. If I remember rightly, he turned down his winners' medal at Blackburn. He felt he hadn't contributed enough. Showed a lot of character to me, that.
Showed a lot of character, isn't it, really?
Yeah. I'm sure he was holding his championship winning medal though from the time before at Leeds. I think he'll treasure that one pretty well. But yeah, I mean, there we go again. Kate saying Ledley King. When you're talking about all-time greats, you really got to put a lot of thought into it, and you're gonna be leaving out players that make you cringe to leave them out. That's the unfortunate truth of it.
Same with us, though. We were picking out 11. We have, like you said, we've had some really class players over the years, and once you think of them all, I know people brought them up. Like, I forgot about them. Oh, I forgot about them too. And you know what I mean? It's really hard to sit down and really, really think about who's your all-time. It is really hard to think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some other Leeds players that popped up while I was thinking about the others. Lee Bowyer's going to be in there with a shout. He was really good for you. With the others, Olivier Decourt, he was great for you at one point.
What about Hernandez, Danny?
Pablo. I think we got Pablo a little bit too late into his career.
I think he goes down as a legend at Leeds, Danny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them games when we went up under Bielsa, he won them on his own.
Yeah.
Right.
It shows how
Get
much
through some of these starred comments.
Right, Jess.
No. Get through some of these starred comments, but go, Stace, you're all right.
It shows how much we respect him at the club as when he left Leeds, and how Leeds fans travelled over to where he was playing just to support him. Even then, you can see how moved he was when he saw Leeds fans in the stand, and it was like, you're always going to be a legend at Leeds United no matter where you go. When you get top level Leeds United, you stay there.
Right,
Yeah,
Colin's first one. Some of these. It's okay saying that it's a 2-year plan, but if we don't go up, we'll lose Cree, Amp, Gray, possible Rutter and Nonto, plus Road on work time.
We won't lose Ampadu.
Well, I look at it this way. Rodon's not our player anyway, so it doesn't matter if we lose him or not. Ampadu will be staying. I think Gray stays. I think we'll get another season out of Rutter, and I only think we'll lose Nonto and some over me.
Ampadu won't go.
I was saying in comments the other night when you were on this discussion, I think Leeds could do worse than to look at some really smart loan signings for next season. Because I don't see the budget being there, and I do agree players are going to want to move on. That pull of playing in the Premiership's too strong for a lot of players. So Is that there's that kind of balance at the moment, isn't there, between being sensible with what you got, realizing where your limitations are, and then just plan for it. I think if you get some good loan signings on, and then look to pick up some of the cream of the crop from perhaps the divisions below, just getting some of those really exciting youngsters in, keep building for the future. Just realize where you are. I mean, I think this kind of promotion push, it's almost come too early for you in a way, because I think you look at for me personally, I look at Bamford and I think he's not up to it. And I look, who else have you got there now? And I've forgotten his name now. Joseph, isn't it? There's
Joseph.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't see what him being the sort of player that gets you that. Unfortunately, it really is. Unfortunately, you really need to come up so you've got that money to get a team. Yeah, I feel you just got players that just aren't up to the level at the moment. The ones that are, when they're on song, you look good. But as soon as one or two of them lose any sort of form, it's looking bad. These last 6 games have been horrendous.
So,
That's
Good question. Everybody can answer.
Right.
1 minute, let me just go for this one from Angels. Who was the best player to ever play for Leeds? If you had to pick one player, who would you be your best player? Everybody can answer this.
Billy Bremner.
Yeah, Bremner for me as well.
Got to be.
Bremner.
If it's not Billy Bremner, it's John Charles. It's got to be one of those two for me.
Lee'll have a different one.
Who's the best player you've watched at Leeds?
Best player I watched for Leeds. Probably Jimmy Beckford.
In your area, Beckford.
Stairs.
For me, Bremner.
Bremner for me. Bremner for Danny. Bremner for Coover. Stairs. Any advance on Bremner?
See, for me, no, not Bremner. The thing is, Bremner's way before my time, so I've not actually seen Bremner play. So for me, I can't say Bremner without actually looking at his gameplay. Ooh. See, I'm just thinking more like my era. Sure, this is difficult. Why? Who asked the question? What, Jules? Yeah, of course. Oh, wow, this is really difficult.
Probably Pascal.
No, I'm not going to pick Pascal.
In my era, that I've seen, it's probably got to be Rio Ferdinand.
Oh, Jules, you've really got me thinking.
Again, though, I feel it's like that toss-up between a player that's got absolutely mountains of quality like Ferdinand, but do you weigh that up against somebody who's been there for a very long time, like a Gary Kelly or a McAllister? Or
yeah, this is the thing. But I'm gonna say Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank for me.
What?
I forgot all about him. I didn't even mention him. What a great player he was as well.
For me, he was a great player, and I loved him.
Next.
Certainly get you off your seat, wouldn't he?
Oh yeah.
Danny will answer this one.
What is it?
Would you take Calvin Phillips back? It's a no from me, Beefwork is saying.
No, I won't take him back if we could get him for 5 million yet. No mind what else. I don't think he fits in this team.
Anybody else got an opinion on that?
No. For me, getting with Farker's system, don't get me wrong, he's a good player, but he's been wasted at Man City, and he's not exactly having a good loan spell at West Ham. We will talk about something now, won't we? For me, he needs to go abroad.
You think with Phillips?
Yeah, he needs to go abroad as Phillips, just for a season or two to get himself back to where he was.
I don't think he will.
He can't play the double pivot for me. He's better in a single pivot, and not a lot of teams play single pivot.
I think if you come up, you're going to need somebody like him. You're going to need as many as you can get like him. He's got the Premiership experience, and I don't see a lot of that with this Leeds team at the moment.
It's just. I don't think he fits in, Cooper. I really do not think he fits in. with that current
Yeah.
system.
I think it's Gruev and Kamara that'll start in Premiership. Just my personal opinion.
And hopefully Rodonick will go up and he signs with us.
Kamara's been an odd one for me because I've heard rave reviews about him earlier in the season, and ever since I've taken more interest now the title charge is on, I just haven't been impressed with him. It just it doesn't really. I can't understand what he's really doing there. I didn't really see him shielding the defence. I think in defence, Rodon and Ampadu, I think that's what's holding you together at the moment. To be honest, I think some of their performances have been right up there when the team's not performing. But yeah, I think it's a case of players losing form at the same time, right at the wrong time of the season, isn't it? It's really derailed you. Same for us as well.
Kamara hasn't had a pre-season, and he didn't play for Rangers for nearly a year. So I just think it might be just tiredness and catching up with Kamara for me.
Cooper, I don't mean this in no disrespect to any Tottenham fan, right? But you'll know what I mean when I say this. How does a team out of form find form? Because Leeds aren't in any form, and how are we going to find form in 3 games?
With 3 games, I don't see it. I mean, the obvious way would be if it's during a transfer window, you just bring in some fresh blood, try and stir things up, somebody to act as a catalyst. But with the problem, both Spurs and Leeds at the moment, key players not performing, and there's no real alternative to them. When James Maddison lost form, we don't look anything near the same team with him playing poorly. Same with Bissouma, start of the season, he was a monster, and then he just lost it, and we haven't been the same since. Leeds, you need every one of those big name players firing right now. Who can you bring in instead? Do you think any of the youngsters are good enough? Doesn't seem to be. I know you rave about Gray, the young lad, but again, in this last 6 games, I can't really say I've seen anything from him. But I can't blame him really, because he's a youngster. He's going to need some players performing well and helping him through games as well. He can't do it all by himself. The only one I see possibly can spark you to doing anything, and he takes a lot of hits as well, is Somerville. He's the only one that looks like he's got that kind of explosive element to his game where he can do something that hurts the opposition. But otherwise, you're looking very flat. You look scared to attack at times. Very much really sort of defensive mindset. I think if you really started, rather than looking at individuals raising what you're doing at the moment, I think you just need to tweak what you're doing. Be a little bit more brave. Throw people forward more. Just getting numbers in the box more often, slinging the ball in. You just need some goals somewhere. Get a bit of confidence in going. See if that triggers something. Because what's to lose at this point? If you're playing this badly, you're not going to make top 2. You might as well try and get the ball going in the net a few times and see if some of these players just like get that spark again. Because it'll be better to see that going into the playoffs than trying to limp on playing very badly and scraping points and looking for other teams to do you a favour each week. That's not a way to do it, really, is it?
No, so you think we should aim for playoffs rather than automatic?
Yeah, you just got to find a way to break the cycle at the moment, because each week now I see you just going out there. Like I said, it seems very flat. You seem to be fairly well organised at the back. I think as I said, Rodon and Ampadu look like a solid back pairing for me. Seeing you through a lot of games. So, but when you go forward, it's very much like Spurs are doing in a lot of games lately. It's like there's a reluctance to take chances. I think sometimes you have just got to go for it. Game's supposed to be about taking some risks and getting rewarded for it. If you don't take the risk, you're not going to get anything. Draws aren't good enough now. You've got to be winning the games. You're not going to do that by sitting back. I think get forward and if it pays off, great. If it doesn't, you're giving it a go. It's all in at this time of the season. and I just don't feel like your team's playing like it. It's very reluctant to make mistakes or take those extra chances up front for me. And you're struggling with it. It's a rut now, isn't it?
It is. It's been like in a rut. But it seems to be happening even in the Premier League as well. Like the top three, like apart from Man City, sorry, like Liverpool and Arsenal, they seem to be doing the same thing. Like everything seems just to be take a back seat, or it looks like they're scared to score, or scared to attack. It's frustrating.
Yeah, it's a common thread though, isn't it? Well, I think social media doesn't help either, because if players make mistakes, they get absolutely slaughtered by fans. And it kind of takes a lot to shelter them from that, because which player isn't going to be seeing any social media, or they'll know what fans say about them, whether it's secondhand or seeing it themselves. So that's why you end up with players like padding their stats, the passing stats. Make sure you do the safe pass, get that percentage up, and you can say, "Oh, you're doing my job here, doing it well. Look at that 90% passing rate." That's no good if you're a creative midfielder. You want to be taking those, going for those really difficult through balls that don't always work. It's better to have a 30% successful passing rate if those 3 out of 10 successful passes have created goal scoring opportunities. It's better than having 9 out of 10 that didn't do anything. I think it is. It's just about guts. I think they're. Is it the manager? Is it coming from him being a bit scared of taking the chance, breaking his routine? I don't know. Maybe he doesn't trust the players to go forward either. Perhaps he's trying to hold the shape and grab the wins. It's difficult to say. It's just kind of just the steam went out of the wind went out of your sails at just the wrong time. If only it had been the other way around, you had this bad lull at the start, and then just you're doing what Southampton are doing now. They're the team that look like they're going to do something to me.
Yeah,
I agree. They're only team in form, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, I know Ipswich have had a couple of results, but they don't look anything like they did before. Leeds certainly are, and I think Leicester, the wheels have well and truly fallen off.
Yeah, true. It's kind of a weird title race where nobody wants it at the moment.
Yeah.
Does leave the door open. Well, I told you before, I put a bet on Southampton to win the title, 150 to 1 a few weeks back. It just seemed like they're going forward, steaming on and winning. Everybody else is throwing games away. Could still see it happening. It's a close race, isn't it?
Yep.
Very rarely see it this many teams involved.
I agree.
Where do you think Spurs are going to finish then, Coover? 4th or 5th?
5th. I think we've got a nice big cushion on the teams below. We've got about 10 points on them now.
So
The likes of United and that are not gonna string 4 wins together. So I don't think we're good enough to catch Villa right now. And same as Leeds. I just don't see that sort of that confidence in attacking anymore. It's gone very flat. And because we don't attack very well, all we do is we wait until we lose the ball and then get countered and get whacked for it. We've got the resources to get in players where this should never happen. We're not having to count pennies so much as like you would have to be in the championship. You've got to be careful with what you're doing, because you can't overspend in case you don't go up and cause even more problems. But we're in a position where we've got loads of money to spend, and we've ended up with what I'd regard as one creative midfielder in Maddison. Shouldn't be like that. We should have 4 or 5 like that. And so if somebody goes off form, you can throw the other one in. It's become slim pickings, both squads. If players aren't performing to their full potential, there's nobody on the bench to change it. Depressing, isn't it? I wish I hadn't come.
No, he's 2:30. He's got massive 2:30.
Yeah, I know he's got 2:30.
He's messaged me. He's not wrong.
Got any questions that you wanted to bring up, Jess? Sorry, we kind of gone off the ball there.
Did Backy deserve the stick he got?
What about his wages? Well, it seemed it come out like he were on so much bonus each game as well. And no, at the end of the day, look, it's not winning contracts. That's yeah, I think he did get a lot of stick for what wasn't his fault.
How's your current feeling about where you're going to finish?
I said fourth before you come in, Coover. I think we could even finish fourth. I do. I think.
Me and Jess are on third. It's going to take, for me, it's going to take a massive. I'm reserving third for now, but I'm just going to see how I play on Monday and take it from there. But we had this conversation, and I said in August, I said 14th, just purely because of the previous performance in the Premier League and the chaos that was at Leeds United at the time. So at this moment in time, Leeds United have surpassed my expectations at the moment. So I'm happy with that. Another year, to go another year in the Championship, then I'm not going to be that disappointed. We've had a cracking season. We just kind of fell at the last hurdle.
That's what I was saying earlier about. Yeah, so that's what I was saying earlier about. I feel like you've had this season one season too early. If you'd had next season and gone like this, you might have had that little bit of extra depth in the squad, and players have got that little bit more experience to kick on. And I think it's just there's nothing in the tank at this moment. No. I really don't see where you're getting a win from, if I'm honest. No. Hope I'm wrong though, because we want to have some of those waffle next season.
We all hope we're wrong, but it's just at this moment in time, there's no light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, and again, even if you do manage to get yourselves up this season on that sort of bare bones squad,
scraping back again.
Next season's going to be hellish difficult to stay in the Premiership because you are.
We'll lose more than we win next season. We'll lose more than we win. 100%.
I agree.
People think we're going to go up and get fourth. Some Leeds fans think we're going to go up and get fourth. No, if we stay up first season, I'm happy.
Mid-table. I'm going to say mid-table. So between.
I don't think we'll be mid-table. I think we'll be 15th, 16th.
Yeah, so I'm saying between 10th and 16th. I reckon because at the moment in time, it's looking another season championship, which I'm not too bothered about.
I like Daniel Farker, and I'll always back him while he's there. Yep. I think he's a real good manager. What he started with in August, with the fucking upheaval of that squad and everything else. Me, at the start of the season, I said Leeds would finish no higher than 10th. So for me, it surpassed my expectations. And if we fall short, we fall short because you deserve to finish where you finish. And if we fall short and we get the playoffs and we lose, then it's unfortunate.
We pick ourselves up, we dust ourselves off, and we try again.
I'm sorry.
We've proved that with Bielsa, though, because the first season we had with Bielsa, we fell at the final hurdle. And then look what happened. The next season we was in charge, we got promoted. It could happen again with Farker.
You see, I don't like comparing Bielsa to Farker. I don't like comparing.
No, totally different managers, tactics and everything.
Everyone's saying that they want Farker out because of how we are this season. I'm just saying.
No, that's wrong. That's wrong. You know what I mean? That's wrong.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying, like, we felt the final hurdle with Bielsa. And the next season, we all supported Bielsa and he got us, and we got behind him, we got behind the team, and we got promoted.
I think we'll do that again. I do. I think we'll be feeling sorry for ourselves for the first week or so. Then we'll start getting behind all transfer news, what comes in. And then before the season starts, we'll be back behind him again. We will. We will.
Bobby always having a go. Having a go at Kate. It's kind of frustrating. Well, it's not kind of, but it is frustrating as fans, isn't it? When you can't be sure of what the long-term and short-term plans for the club are. And I think Farke, was going to be a really good manager for you if you hang on to him. But if the right level of investment or the clever and smart players coming in doesn't happen, he's going to struggle. Anybody's going to struggle. At that point, does he become too good for what the club's done? It's the same with star players as well. If you don't come up, there's people want to move on. Where are Leeds right now? That's the real thing. What's your gut feeling on? Are you going for that? Buy in the players, the quality top players for to get you from Champions League to Premiership next season, if it doesn't happen this season, or are you doing the more sensible one and letting players go when they've got really decent value for them? And I'm talking about the Greys and players like that, and then just accepting that that's the level you're currently at, and you have to just reinvest that really wisely. Like I said, look at some relatively cheap talent from abroad, all the players from lower divisions that are really excelling, and you could pick up for decent value for money, and then just develop them. But if you do that, is Farke the right manager for you? I don't know.
You see, we've got a difference of opinion of me and Stace, and I love it. You know what I mean? Because I respect, I respect her. She knows that, right? But I think, regardless of if Leeds stay in Championship or get promoted, I believe that the pull of Bayern Munich for Archie Gray would be too big for him not to go.
Yeah, I
you know what
understand
I
that.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, what player wouldn't want to go somewhere like that?
Say we do sell Gray, what price tag would be on him? Considering we got to pay 76 million.
No, I don't think so. Not when it's been the Championship. It'd be about 45 to 50, I think. Remember, it's only 9. It's only what? It's only just 19.
And we've got that back pay. We've got to have 76 million by July.
June, I think it is. Yeah.
So we've got to work out, because I don't think they'll allow 49ers to just pay out of the pocket.
No. They've got to balance the book.
What do you mean, Scooby? Don't say that, please.
What about Gray going to Bayern Munich? I don't want to say it's Scoobs. I don't, mate.
But we have to be realistic. If a decent offer comes in for Archie Gray from a high-end international club, no one's going to blame him for wanting to go.
I don't think Archie Gray would get a choice in it myself. I think because of the financial situation, if Leeds don't go up, if I were him and I were looking at it from a progression point of view, I'd probably got a Dortmund. That's just my personal opinion. They've got a real good academy.
Yeah,
we want no Dortmund.
It is.
There are certain clubs in the world where you just don't say no.
That's the point. Yeah.
Even as Spurs all my life, I've been a Spurs player, if the likes of Real Madrid come knocking, I would have my suitcase packed in an instant, halfway to the airport with clothes hanging out, and within 10 minutes. Yeah.
Before the ink's even dry.
These clubs don't come back in for you, Kuva, do they? It's like, if you turn them down once, that's it. They don't come back in for you again. Yeah. So it's a big. That's a problem, a disadvantage when your players are playing so well. They're going to attract attention from elsewhere.
It's the bitter pill to swallow, isn't it? You've got to have a realistic appraisal of where your club is in relation to others, and sometimes you just got to realise those players are going to have to move on. We hate selling the likes of Gareth Bale and stuff, but it had to happen.
Yeah.
There was no point keeping on to hold him at that point. Eventually, you find a way to stabilise things and start improving your overall situation, and then of course your transfer budget starts creeping up again. That's what it seems like. It seems to be the case with Leeds. I don't know what your long-term future is going to be like. I'll just remember watching what happened when it all went tits up and you sunk down the division. It's scary times as a fan if you think you're going to go under. It's a long way back as well. Running your club sensibly now has got to be the number one priority. Yeah.
Previous owners have messed us over.
Yeah.
Big time. Now 49ers have got to pick up that slack. So
and they've got to also think about they've got to run the football club, and the fans hate me saying this. But to owners, it's a business. To us fans, it's a entertainment, sporting entertainment value.
I mean, there are a few owners out there that can do both, can offer both. Clearly, some do manage that very successfully. You just have to hope that you end up with one of those.
Shush.
I mean, for us at the moment, I'm staunch Levy out, or have been for a long time at Spurs. But that's because I appreciate what he's done as a business. Very good business, and raised our profile all over the world. That's great stuff. But then when you realise he's only interested in getting up to that level where he can benefit from it financially for the whole of the ENIC group, the football suddenly takes a back burner, and it's not the priority that it should be. And I hope you don't end up with one of those sort of investors, because it's frustrating. It's like my analogy was like the Spurs has become a bonsai tree. It's kept in this beautiful little pot, pruned immaculately, looks great, smells great. It's in a lovely garden and everything. Everything's there in place except for it cannot grow. You need to pull it out of that pot and put it into the soil and let it grow with the big boys, because we can't go any further with this ownership as it stands. So there are people out there that might want to do the same with Leeds as what happened with Spurs, and you've got a big fan base. You've always had that passionate, large fan base. That's got to be what the driving point of the club is. If people say that, I mean, if people see that. And that match day revenue is always going to be high, always potentially sky high as well. You're just a big club in waiting to go up where you should be. Same with Sunderland, same with, Everton, danger of relegation. They should never be in that position either. But this has happened, and it's happened to a lot of clubs. It's now a case of just, do you get lucky with a rich owner? Who knows? I'll wait and see what happens with Leeds.
Well, 49ers aren't like that. 49ers are proving that. I think the San Francisco 49ers, they want a massive club. Now look at them. So we've not in. I think when the 49ers come in, we've got that information to know that they don't take stuff lightly, and they do put their all into a club. So we know that we've got. Sorry, excuse me. We seem to have good owners behind the back. It's just the previous ownership has left us with a sour taste in his mouth, because obviously all this debt that's come through is because of them.
The only thing I'd say about the 49ers is it's an investment group, right? And a group of investors tend to want to make money on their investment, what they've laid down, and that's a bit of a concern for me. Is it being an investment group?
It could also be another case of owners coming in that raise the profile of the club and then raise the overall value of it by taking you up to the Premiership again, getting into European spots, and then maybe they want to sell it on at that point and just take it.
I don't think they're long term. I don't.
You don't know, because that's what I hoped was happening with ENIC, but they're still here, and it looks like they're here to stay, because they realise that it's a cash cow at that point. They can make phenomenal amount of money just off the name now. The fact that Daniel Levy can conduct his business with Tottenham chairman under his name, he can do loads of extra things off the field that he wouldn't have been able to before, because it's raising your profile. Are Leeds going to go the same sort of way? You can't. Nobody's got that crystal ball, have they? We can see what the 49ers have done before.
Yeah. We have a resident crystal ball reader, Jules.
But she said that she'll tell us after Monday's game what Leeds are going to do.
I'm going to tell everything right now.
If we lose Monday, it's bye-bye. Stu, what people have to remember with the 3 teams that Leeds United have got left to play, Middlesbrough have still got something to play for. They still can get in playoffs. QPR fighting relegation. Southampton are. So the 3 games we've got fighting out automatic promotion. It's not going to be easy as people think. Middlesbrough away will be a very tough game on Monday.
Always has been a
forget the-
tough game against Middlesbrough. Always has
was
been
gonna
a tough game.
I was going to say, forget the opposition.
The 49ers for Colin Kaepernick. What he did was off his own back. One player doesn't mean they're all the same. What Kaepernick did was off his own back. That's nothing to do with the 49ers. So I just thought I'd point that out. To know what he's talking about, and he should not place one player, well, over there anyway, one of their soccer players. Not soccer, sorry, football players, sorry. Should not reflect on a whole company. Because the 49ers is just isn't one person, it's a massive investment company. And we've actually got American football players invested in our club that don't agree with Kaepernick. But we can't tarnish one person with the same brush. Sorry, Jess. Thought I'd just...
No. Depends
So,
on promotion. If no promotion, then we have to raise 100 million. Benny's saying. Big up to Benny.
I don't think that's unrealistic, really.
No, I don't
to
think it is.
carry on what you're doing and keep back in the race for promotion if you don't go up. It's probably a reasonable ballpark figure, isn't it? That's what I'm saying. I think you could do really well if you make some really smart loan signings from Premiership clubs. That could take you over the line. You look at what's some of the ones went up, even the likes of Hull this season. Some of the loan signings they got.
Valio.
Yeah, exactly. If you get players of that sort of caliber in, you're looking a lot better for it, aren't you?
I agree. I do.
Yeah, but
Well, we were in for Cavalier, weren't we, Stu, when he went to Wolves with a promising game. Yeah.
Do you think Farker made a mistake there, Jess? Do you think he should have said, "Look, yeah, we'll put you in team"?
Yeah. Well, maybe not guaranteeing me in play every game, but for me, where we struggle or seem to struggle is lack of strength and depth in our squad. He's got that same 11, that he more or less picks if everybody's fit. And then you do look at bench and you think, where's that game changer coming from? Where's somebody that can come on and have a bit of life for 20, 25 minutes? That does worry me, Stu.
Yeah, because we all know that you start Perot, bringing Bamford off at bench. He's not really an impact sub.
Well, it showed at start season, didn't it, Stu? When Bamford were on bench and the roles would reverse.
And if you start Bamford, he's not in any sort of form. So it's a bit stuck, is Farker at the moment. He really is. I mean, the only thing he hasn't tried is Joseph from start.
Can you see him doing that before end of season, though, Stuart? I really can't.
He talked about it in his press conference. He says the temptation is to change things, but he's frightened that if he's got to have that right balance of changing it too much.
I mean, what Benny's saying here, this is a valid point. Promotion could break us, if you think about it. This team would not survive in the Premiership. So we would have to spend 150 million plus the current debt of 190 million.
Got a point there.
Yep.
Very
Truth
good point.
to that. How would your fan base take it, do you think, if the board were to come out and say, this is the plan, we're going to look for promotion. If we get promotion, we're not going to spend the kind of money that we need to stay in there, and we're going to accept that we probably get relegated next season, and then look to come back again a bit stronger. Yeah, but that might be the sensible way of looking at it at the moment.
Yeah, it's realisation it could happen. But when the 49ers first took over the team, Alan said, when we go to Prem, they do a massive overhaul. At this moment in time, that overhaul's not going to happen until we clear some of this debt.
And like you keep referring back to stated, it was a 2-year plan to get back to the Premier League.
Exactly.
This is only 1 year.
This is my point. Yeah, this is after 1 year. Imagine what could happen next season. Say we don't get promoted. Say we fought the final hurdle, like in typical Leeds fashion. Next season we could come back twice as strong, smash the, and then probably at that point we probably got rid of some of this debt. So getting promotion next season, we probably have less debt. So which means we could afford to buy the players that we will need to have a Premier League strength side.
To pay that debt off, you're going to have to sell your better players.
Yeah.
You've got to hope that you find a replacement for, I don't know, just say Gray, Somerville, Rutter, and Ampadu. Just say them 4 players.
Yeah.
You've got to find a player which is worth half their value now, because you're going to use the other half of money to pay off the debt.
Yeah.
And are you going to find players like Somerville and Gray and Nonto and stuff half price at their quality they've got now?
We're not. We are not. And like Cooper,
So
I
then,
like what Cooper said though, but like going down to the lower leagues and see if we can get players from the lower leagues and bring them up. Because
there's
like,
no
quality down there.
there's no guarantee as well that once you clear the debt off that things will change dramatically. I mean, at Spurs, I mean, we had this whole thing for so many years, like get the new stadium in. It's the game changer. It hasn't changed anything. We're still doing the same sort of transfer dealings. You can't rely on that sort of golden egg turning up. It's got to be a longer term plan. I think that's why, you know, like Stacey bringing it up again. I think looking at those really talented youngsters and realizing that's going to have to form a bulk of your squad if you're going to get somewhere. You need getting some old wizened, you know, level-headed pros in to help the youngsters along, and I'll just see what you can do. Just unearth some of those gems. Yeah, you'll have to sell some on again, but get good money in for them and keep it going again. There used to be a genius for it in the lower divisions. Old Dario Gradi at Crewe, he used to do it all the time. Unearth youngsters constantly. You know, trying to think of all the names coming up to the Premiership. It was just a regular way. It was how the club survived. With Leeds, you don't have to do that to survive, but it'll be a good plan to get it in place. Capture those youngsters. I mean, even the likes of West Ham practiced it. Go and get Jared Bowen, lower league player. So he's not that fashionable for the top teams, but what a player!
Same as Andy Robertson when he come from Hull to Liverpool. What a snip for £12 million.
Yeah.
Mikel Antonio went from that Middlesbrough to West Ham. With that Mikel Antonio, he's their all-time leading goal scorer now.
Wow.
So
yeah,
it
but
can happen.
The point is, those players are out there if you do things smart. You shouldn't be in a
Nottingham Forest, Stew and Chef Wednesday.
Forest. I knew it was a red kit. Well, orange kit, red kit, what colour kit you want.
Sheffield Wednesday, that's another one that's criminal what's happening to them.
They're a sleeping
I agree
giant.
with that.
Sleeping giant. Hoover, is right. With what's happening at Spurs, right? You've got we've all said this on this screen. We all like Big Ange. We think he's it's a decent manager. But if you're saying that Levy and Enoch and Levy aren't going to go anywhere, is there any point in having a really good manager in like Big Ange if he's not going to be backed? Because I watched Stell's show today, and apparently you've made a signing, and it's something like £17 million, and it's from a club what I've never even heard of.
What, today?
According to Stell, yeah.
Oh, I haven't even heard that news. I've been busy with other things. I've been busy all day talking my brand of bullshit on other channels.
I'll get back to you on that one.
Well, I'll have to look into that. I've had this discussion a few times this week. I have serious doubts about what's happening with Big Ange. Like you, I love him. I think for me, he's like our version of Bielsa was for you. Bring that incredibly exciting brand of football. But whereas Bielsa's basically going up, all due respect, at a lower level at the time because Leeds just come up with that, and you've got all these youngsters key to buy into what he wants to do. Perfect little setup for him at the time. With us and Ange, I think I see Ange now talking about he wants to win your challenge for the Premiership title next season. Now, with the squad we've got, and I've said on several streams, I think we're 11 or 12 players away from building a squad that's capable of maintaining the style of football he wants at a high level. I think we're a long way off that build, and I think the only way you're going to get those players in to challenge for next season is to buy ready-made players, and we're not going to be getting 12 people in. No chance at all. Over the course of 3 years, maybe. But then you're looking at having to replace the likes of Sun as well. So you've got to start replacing some of the ones that are already here. Now, what I thought was going to be the plan at the start of the season was buying in these younger players, which is what the club says they want to do, buying in players like under the age of 25 and develop them into Champions League players. I think that's a good plan. In fact, it's kind of what I'm suggesting that Leeds is doing, but obviously at the higher end of the Premiership rather than down in the Championship. It's getting in those youngsters and bringing them along at the club, raise their value. You're going to have to sell a few on to make serious money on it, and then reinvest it in more young quality and keep going and just raise your club up slowly. I thought that was going to be the plan with Spurs. So I thought, well, we got a longer term plan here, manager that's got a way of playing football that's going to be exciting to watch, but it's going to take some time. We're developing our academy in the meantime, where we've made some big changes to how we do things. And for the first time in my lifetime, I'll see the academy playing the same way as the first team played. But it's going to take time, and I think we now got the impasse where it's a manager that wants to do things in the short term and next season for it all to happen, and the board are looking at a longer term and not making those big name investments that are needed. I don't think the two go together anymore. I think Spurs are going to be in trouble with that. I think Ange has got limited time. Unless everything clicks into place beautifully next season and he can wing it with a threadbare squad yet again, where we're still missing 5 or 6 players that need to be able to come in and they aren't there. If we can get away with it injury-wise and everybody finds form, we could have a great season next season. But it's not realistic. It's grasping at straws. Anyway, that's how I see it. There's so many similarities between what's happening at Spurs and what Leeds needs to do as well, as far as I'm concerned. And that's looking at a longer term build. You're not going to get an overnight success here. Like I said, even if you come up this season, next season would be tough as hell. You're kind of not ready for it at the moment.
So I've got a question for Stu, just in the chat. Just going off what Clover was saying about bringing in the younger players. Say we lose quite a chunk of the team, Gray, Cree, all that. Would you be comfortable with bringing someone in from, like, I know a few new players from the academy have just been given professional contracts. Would you be happy with bringing in, instead of going out and buying players in, would you happy just bringing people from, like, the under 18s, under 21s into the main squad? Or would you rather us go out and buy some players and bring some from up? We've got the talent in the younger team. Like maybe have a mix of both.
Starker don't fancy him most days. He's had Geltard on bench all this time. You know, he ain't even give
Cresswell.
Geltard a chance. Cresswell,
he won't even play. And Cresswell's a recognised centre back.
I think Cresswell will go, you know.
I think Geltard will go. You know, I just don't know if Farke, it's like what Kirby says, I don't know if Farke's good at bringing through players. I don't know if he's good for doing it. I don't know if he is. Because even at Norwich, he had that settled team, and he were renowned. He was being renowned for not changing. He's got a set 11, and then maybe 2 or 3 he likes to bring off at bench, and that's it. He don't look anywhere else. He don't look past it.
I agree.
It's always the same substitutions. It's never anything different.
I think all we can do now really is just wait and see what happens. Be an interesting transfer. A few transfer windows. This one window for you. This for you, Jesse. For freaking way. It's going to be scrappy. I reckon we stay down. We're in for a rough few months, I reckon.
So this is why I'm watching Leeds rather than Spurs at the moment, because I know where Spurs are now for the rest of this season. We're not winning anything, and we're not going to really change anything until the transfer window. Whereas you you've got that title race is still on, even as poorly as you're playing. There's still excitement there. It's nail biting stuff. Fortunately, your bad run of form coincides with Ipswich and Leicester throwing games away as well. So still in it somehow. But you just need that little spark, don't you? That spark out of nowhere.
It's literally going to be last day. This is how I feel the championship's going. It's going to be down to the last matches for everybody. 4th of May is going to be nail biting for us against Southampton.
I think, unfortunately, I can see you being out of the running by that point. I'll just, well, mind you, then, like I said, though, they're not all winning either, are they? So, yeah, last day nail biter, that could be something.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think is going to happen. It's going to be last day.
Oh dear God! Anybody but Southampton at that point.
I think it goes down to that last game at season. I really do.
It would be better if he'd been playing Ipswich or Leicester on the last day rather than Southampton, I think.
Yeah, see, Leicester have really good games. Really, what they've lost, won, lost, draw. See,
West Brom will be a hard game to both of them. West Brom will play.
I'm hoping West Brom do a good job for me.
We'll soon find out after.
I think that's the difference between the top 4 at the top at the moment. I look at Ipswich that are sort of almost fluking their way through games at that time. Leicester are, when they're good, they're very good, but when they're bad, they're, easily taken apart. Leeds offering absolutely nothing, look like the flattest of a lot of them. And meanwhile, you've got Southampton going, and even in that, what was that game where they won 96th minute winner the other day, wasn't it? Forgotten who that was against now.
Middlesbrough?
Might be Middlesbrough. Yeah, it was. But anyway, the thing was, when watching that game, you could see the players believe they're going to get that goal. They really look like they're up for it. When I watch Leeds, I don't get that feeling. It's kind of like making up the numbers at times. That's what I was saying before. If just shake up this team at the moment, you can't do it through signings, so you're just stuck with what you got to the end of the season. So why not just bomb forward, get people into the box, take a big chance, see if something happens there. If you just get a few goals doing that, get the confidence up in some of the forwards, you could rescue it still. I just don't see how you can do it sitting back.
I'll rephrase what I said. Leicester have lost the last 2 matches. I read it the wrong way around. So they're slipping a bit as well, and like Jess said, West Brom aren't going to be easy for them. So it's either win or draw.
Daka has missed so many this season for them watching them.
Yeah, he's missed. So you
struggled against Plymouth.
Like for the next couple of matches, we are going to be on our edge of our seats and heart rate just going, stress, anxiety going through the roof until the 4th of May.
Tuesday's a massive game. That game in hand for Southampton and Leicester is a massive game. That is a massive game. If Southampton go on and win that and beat Leicester, they will go up as champions. That's my genuine belief with Southampton.
And that's covering with the money.
No, but I've watched, watching Southampton at last few games.
It's been really good.
They look good. Yeah, they have. They look good. Real good. I mean, we did it last week, didn't we? I did watch one and they were 3-0 up in 25 minutes. Game done.
Yeah. Yeah, because we and Chris had other games, didn't we?
You were doing Barcelona and you were doing Dortmund.
Yeah.
Well, that decides it. Then you need to win your all the other games, so that one you don't need to win that one to go up.
I found that little clip. Sorry, I won't be rude. I found that clip what Stel were on about that breaking news, that player you're signing. Still won't mind. You don't mind me sharing screen, do you, Jess? Oh no,
not at all.
You won't be able to wear it, will you? His name is.
I'll bring up.
Royal
Union
St. Louis.
Say that again, Stu.
Oh, Liverpool played them in Europa League at the start of the season. Group stage. I will now. I'll give you lots of loving.
So let's see if I can find it for you.
I think we've all just got to have long fingernails for Monday.
Do they say what a free signing, Stu?
I'll find it.
Did she say what a free signing?
No, it's apparently it's cheap though. It's cheap, but you know Matt, who's on their show still, Coover. There's Matt, Stell, and 2 others. Well, Matt says that this guy's rapid, is quick, it's really, really quick, and I think it's about £17 million it's cost you from that team who you said Liverpool played, Jess.
Yeah, they played him in Royal Union St. Gallen. Yeah.
That's it, Royal Union St. Gallen.
Yeah, Liverpool played him in Europa League at the start of this season. Belgium.
I don't think he's heard anything yet, so it looks like it's not a good thing. Well, he's downstairs, I think. He's probably asleep now, Russell.
Well, pace is always a good weapon to have as a footballer, but unless you're Timo Werner, of course.
Well, Matt's pretty excited about it. So, like Matt seems to know what he's talking about on that Friday show they do. But Matt's pretty excited about it. So it looks like he might be a decent player for you after all, Coover.
Yeah, we're making some definitely some interesting signings for the future, for sure.
It's 55 minutes, around 55 minutes into its show. What if you want to watch it back afterwards? But it's about 55 minutes into its show.
The YouTube channel.
Tottenham away.
How far in? Did you say?
Oh, I'm looking now. Keep plodding, mate. You'll get there. Didn't know you could spell, Johnny. And what is it, Leicester? Oh, Southampton got tomorrow. They play tomorrow.
Southampton.
Cardiff at home. No, they've got they're away at Cardiff tomorrow. That'll be a hard game. Cardiff is decent at home. They bet Ipswich at home 2-1.
Have you got it up, Jess?
How far in did you say?
Hey. Oh, right, not that show, is it?
His name Amari, Tottenham after him.
56 minutes 20. I'm on 56:24. It's just about to come now. There you go.
Is that his name, Amara?
Amara.
That's it, yeah. West Ham won him in Austria.
Amara. He's a striker.
I don't know enough about him. I mean, years back, I used to follow obsessively, go for all the football news and watch as many leagues as I could around Europe. But lately, I've not really been doing it. Don't even follow Ajax like I used to. I used to watch them religiously as well with Spurs. But
breaking news when they were saying that. Yeah,
I kind of give up on expecting transfers that I want at the club anyway. We always end up getting somebody else, so I'll just see what we get.
But to be fair to Big Angie, he has said that you are going to be signing superstars. He's going to be signing players who we think are going to suit the system.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be enough to win the Premier League, though, unfortunately.
No.
So, well, we'll see. I've noticed, though, he didn't say anything about them having to be young players either, though. That kind of worries me more because now you can end up with somebody that just ticks the right boxes, but they're not actually all that great.
I've been after him for a couple of weeks, though, according to what I'm finding.
Yeah, it's just the future with you. Yeah, the future with your club is just it's nerve-wracking at times. Sometimes you need something to come your way. Every fan needs to be thrown a bone every now and then to just keep the faith in the team going. And when you're not getting it and you don't see where that bone's coming from, it's hard going, isn't it? Right now, the way Leeds are playing, and you look at when you're doing the watch-alongs and everybody's face at the end of it, there's kind of that resigned, here we go again. Shouldn't be like that, should it? Should be going into the last bit really excited. God, I hope so. You need a win more than ever.
Yeah, James, some of them will go. Guaranteed.
Yeah, if Leeds don't go up this mean, they'll be at Tottenham. All Tottenham are interested in him. Certainly won't be at Leeds next season.
He's another one I'm not sure about because he's really hit and miss, isn't he? When he's on form, he looks like he's going to destroy a team, and when he's not, he looks terrible.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest with you, he hasn't really been pulling up any trees in the last 5 or 6 games.
I agree.
No.
So according to what I've found, sorry, Cooper.
I was going to say, yeah, but to me, he looks like the player most likely to sort of do something. I just don't see anybody else having that spot. Dan James, he's like a decent player, but he doesn't really, it's not somebody with the ball at his feet. You instantly think, oh my God, we're going to get a goal here. It's like more like he'll do something useful with it. He's got talent without doubt, but he's never really captures the imagination for me. I think Somerville can at times.
I even think Archie Gray's off as well, if I'm honest, at the moment as well.
Night, Carol.
Night, Carol, love, and I love Archie Gray, but I think even Archie Gray's having a bit of a poor patch.
As I said, since watching you since being introduced to this channel, basically, I've been watching Leeds more closely, and I've just not seen anything from him. Mind you, to be fair, I think it's fair to say he's not really a midfielder, is he? And he has had to play in that position at times.
His preferred position, believe it or not, is a midfielder. He's been put out at right back. Yeah.
I thought it was the other way round. I didn't know that.
No.
Oh, yeah.
That's even more worrying then. Yeah, he's lost form then. Simple as that. Okay. Well, he's a youngster anyway. You can't expect them to be at it.
No, I don't think. I think it'd be unfair to really put all his put all his chips on him. Definitely.
I agree.
Can I say something now about? I don't want to interrupt anybody.
Go.
So this Spurs signing that we've been talking about, he's got a €20 million price tag on him. So
but what's that, about 18, 19 million or something?
Yeah, something like that. So apparently it's netted 17 times in just 23 games for Royal Union Saint. I am going to pronounce the
Royal Union Saint Gallen.
Thanking you. Apparently Spurs have submitted a concrete bid to secure his services, signalling their intent to strengthen their attacking options ahead of the upcoming transfer window. It's a minimum fee of €20 million for the sale. So stat-wise, it's looking good, but do you think?
I don't think he's going to. When did you say that? Look, I didn't know who Mickey van der Ven was. I didn't know who Vicario was. I didn't know who, and they've turned into really good players for Tottenham. So sometimes it's the players you don't know who can actually do something for you.
I agree.
So with Levy, what is he like for dipping his hands in pocket to buy decent players in? Is he a tight ass when it comes to buying?
Tight ass. He said the club is always going to have to.
If this is a genuine piece of information, and say they want €20 million for him, would you pay it, or would it go too much?
I just have no idea about this player. I just literally haven't watched him.
That's just what I know.
Levy, you probably try to get him for about 10.
He's had 17 goals in 23 games.
If it's true to form, if it's true to form, the club will want 20 million. We'll offer 9 million, and then Brentford will come in and take him for about 17.
Yeah, well, it's 23, and it's an undisclosed fee. So
23, so he should be well and truly into his career then.
Yeah.
It says he scored 17 times in 23 games.
It's a good return.
And it's cheap, Coover. That's Levy's favourite
word. Exactly. Well, we have splashed out some big money on players, but they've been crap. They've been some of our worst signings. We don't seem to do very well with the marquee signings.
So even though it's got a hefty price tag, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be a good addition to Spurs.
No idea.
Like they'll get him for a fiver, James has just put. Is he really that bad?
It's hard. He's a tough negotiator. Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
He said he loves negotiating. That's what he thrives. He really looks forward to the transfer windows just so he can do that. See, that's the thing. What's one of the criticisms I've always thrown at him, and so have several other fans. When you strike up a deal with another club, it's a business deal. Both parties are supposed to be happy with it. You see that in like the American movies and things with the big business meetings, and they strike a deal, they crack open the champagne and all celebrate. With Levy, he's got to win the negotiation. So the other chairman feels hard done by and feels like he's lost out. So Levy celebrates it. And we've got a reputation for it now. You hear it's unheard of. Other managers and other club owners coming out in public and saying, this was the worst experience we've ever had in the transfer. It's absolutely grinding. I just don't want to deal with the bloke again. And people have come out saying that sort of thing. You don't get that with other clubs. If Liverpool want the spot of player they really want, there's the money. Is that enough? Yeah, okay, that'll suit us. Thank you very much. A bit of champagne all round. Players happy, both clubs happy. Move on. With us, draw the negotiations out for ages. Transfer may or may not go through. Somebody else may steal it away from us. We may cool our interests at the last moment and nothing happens at all. And then we'll get the usual crap of, oh, it was more complicated than people think. And, it can't just be done. The deals like this have to be structured properly, and people don't realise how difficult it is to get all this done. Yeah, fine. How come everybody else manages to do it okay? That's always going to be the argument I've got against this chairman. And that's for not going the extra mile when needed. That's what's held us back for decades. Not just Levy, really. I mean, Sugar wasn't a great chairman before him, but he would dip his hand in his pocket, to be fair, and he did save the club from financial extinction. But before that, we had Irving Scholar, who would also buy big name players, but almost ruined the club. We almost went bankrupt because of his shady business dealings, or reckless rather than shady, I should say. So you got to strike that balance, haven't you? That's what it's all about at the moment. Unfortunately, money does talk. You've got to have a strict financial rein on things, which I agree with ultimately, but it's no good going out and spending 50, 60 million on the likes of Ndombele, who nobody really wants and we're never going to get our money back for, and then claiming, oh, you've backed a manager, or it's good business. Look, we're buying these players in. It shows how good we're doing financially. That's kind of wrecks how well we're doing financially, doesn't it? But yeah, I don't know. Way forward, I don't know where we're going at the moment. It's kind of crossroads for me. I think if this summer, I've said it several times as well, if we don't back Ange and we just go on some weird direction that lets him down totally, and we end up sacking the manager again before Christmas, I am literally walking away from talking about Spurs. I'm done with talking about Spurs online. Full stop. I'll just do the silly streams. Well, that's the only thing I'll be interested in then. I will have totally given up on the club.
Silly streams, I think me and Jess are up for that.
Oh yeah, still the Saturdays. Come on, go over for that. And Bobby Kay and I will do that. Couve and the Kang.
You got to that stage, Couve. Last season you didn't want to talk about Spurs.
Well, last season totally broke me because I'm old school. Was when it comes to my views of how Spurs should play. I believe free flowing attacking football at all times, no matter what. It's not good enough for me to just win. You've got to win in style. Otherwise, don't bother me with it. I need to have excitement. I need to have a buzz when I'm watching the game. I don't want to have these grinding games win 1-0, we got a trophy. Oh, great. That's a game I will never watch again. I don't want that. I want glory. I want spectacle. It's a spectator sport. So I'm okay as long as the club is offering me that, showing me something where I can get behind the players, thinking we could nick a cup here, we could go for the league here, and we're playing some good stuff. That's me happy. But as soon as one of those elements is missing, I'm not happy about it. It's easier to take if you're winning things and playing poorly or playing in a boring way, but it's really difficult if you're not winning things at all, and the football's bad. So in the last few years, although they're big name managers and everything, the likes of Jose and Conte, not for me, not kind of managers I want in my football club. So I was bothered about it. And I thought, if we're going to get these managers in, you've got to back them 100%. Otherwise, what's the point? What is the point of getting a ready-made title-winning manager and then give him absolute dross like we did with Jose? I would have been prepared for it. I would have been prepared to even grind the results out if necessary, if it got us a title. But it didn't. So I think the big thing for me was seeing what was the football was like with Conte after the big promises, and then seeing him with the outburst about how the club's not going to go anywhere. They've got to make their choice of what sort of club they want to be. Finish 7th, 6th, 5th. What is it they want? And him being let down, clearly not going to be back to the way he would need to be to win anything. After seeing that, I'd stopped watching. I said I'd coined the phrase "turn off, you Spurs, toys, toys, toys," because I'd rather go and watch a movie and have a nice bit of food and watch some other team play proper football. So this season it was all about Ange coming in. That's what I'm all about. That exciting kind of play. I mean, I love Bielsa at Leeds. I've already said that on this string. I love that kind of thing. I don't care if people call it gung-ho. That's the way I like football being played. You want to get off your seat. You want to be thrilled. You want to be entertained. Got to win something with it as well. I've seen that in the history of this club. I saw it in the 80s. We had a great side with huge amount of flair and attacking talent, but it also had that grit and determination to get you over the line. We're missing that for ages. I think if we don't look like we're doing anything like that anymore, I've run out of patience a while ago. I don't care about the team like I used to. I don't really love my team anymore. I'm there hoping for what used to be. It's a difficult place to be in. So if I can't carry on that level of hope anymore, it's been taken away from me. I feel like football's gone crap over the last 40 odd years. I think money's ruined the game. Very little honesty left in the game. And I just want to see a turn back to those good old days of go out there and gung-ho's what I'm all about. Just excite me, throw players into the box, take chances, take risks. And if you're going to win something, do it by doing it the right way. Get people like praising you forever. We've had League Cup wins in the last 30 years that one of those games.
Wasn't it 2008 your last trophy cover for Tottenham?
Yeah, Woodgate getting the header against Chelsea, 2-1 win. That was okay. We were playing, even then we were playing quite a defensive game, but we had to. Chelsea were good. But before that, 1999, playing against Leicester, it was a League Cup final that was atrocious. One of the worst games of football I've ever seen. And yet we get a trophy at the end of it. I don't celebrate that. I find that, it's nice to have a trophy, but I forgot about it by the next day because the game was so poor. There's no lasting memory there for me. All I remember is Alan Nielsen scored the goal, and I can't even remember what the goal looked like. It turned off mentally by that point. I want that for every team, though. Who doesn't want that for their team? Play great football and win something. That's what it should be about. Never take a focus off that. So, me this season, if we're not back in Ange and we go flip-flopping back to one of these pragmatic managers, defensive setup, and yet again we've got a squad that's being built for one style of play that suddenly has to go to another change of direction, I'm done. I just don't want to waste my time anymore. I respect my time more than that. I'll go back to watching movies and having some fun watching other teams, teams that actually mean something. Oh well, that's the way it is. There's a lot of people that are unhappy with their clubs right now, but what can you do? It's that hope thing, isn't it? They always say hope's the one that kills you. I kind of lost that in the last few years, and it's been liberating because I just walk away. If we have a crap result, I'll just turn off, do something else. It doesn't affect me. Before it was the end of the earth, as it should be. But like I said, if you're not getting thrown a bone, why bark for the club? You know, I'll be a good dog with some morsels. Yeah, that's it basically. So that's why I'm quite happy to walk away if it goes all tits up again, because I'm done being patient and I'm done with hope. It's I'll just realise I'll be just pure Levy out, and I'll take an interest again when the owner's gone. God, that's bad just to say that. Shouldn't be like this.
Yeah, but you've been honest and you've been truthful. That's all you can ask.
I agree.
Yeah, and it also shows your passion, how much passion you have for the club. I know on screen I could hear what you were saying. It just shows you how much passion you've got when it kills you to say that.
Yeah, well, I look at it the same way. I always try to put yourself in other people's shoes. So that's why I've got a lot of time for what's happening at Leeds. The fans have gone through the ringer. You've been taken down to the depths with nearly going bust. It's a hell of a bad feeling. When you see when there's no easy view of how the hell you get back to the club you used to be, that's hard to take. I wonder, it's kind of difficult to gauge what the difference is between the older fans and the younger ones with a club like Leeds, because it's been quite a while ago since that O'Leary side even. So same with Spurs as well. A youngster coming up supporting Spurs now, they used to not winning. That's unheard of to me. Both our clubs should be up there challenging for trophies every season.
I agree.
Sad times.
Yes. But no, Sego thinks we're going to get better.
It's always hope drives us on, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I agree. It is what it is. Leeds will finish where Leeds will finish, and I'm sure where Tottenham finish. Would you be happy with 5th place for Tottenham? Is that a good progression?
For me, I couldn't give a toss this season. As long as we're not relegated, I really didn't care. I think 5th would be a great achievement considering the mess we were in at the end of last season, and we've just lost our star player as well. So considering all that, and some of the replacements that come in just aren't up to it.
How much did Kane go for?
80 million.
Not enough.
Not enough. Seriously, you think he should be more?
Yeah, quality is Kane.
Yeah.
I'll never slag Kane off.
Or did he want to go?
He wanted to win trophies, didn't he? Yeah. He was loyal. He was loyal with Kane. I will say that. He was loyal. He was loyal.
He stayed on at the club so far that it was actually damaging to him.
I agree.
If I'm honest, he should have gone on before this.
Like I said to Chris, I'm not cursing the way of Spurs, but wow, I think it was that bad for him.
I would have.
Have respect.
It would have hurt, but if I'd seen him go up to United to solve their problems when they were struggling to score goals.
So you're happy he's gone abroad then, rather than to another Premier League team?
Yeah. It's hard to watch him play against you.
Was that really a huge relief then? Or did they find out about Bayern?
Take care, mate. Get well soon.
Do you want to say that again?
Yeah, but he's in hospital with pneumonia, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Cheers, Jammy, by the way. Always got some nice words for me as Jammy. I mean,
Jammy likes the chill
She's been saying the same thing. We can sit here and just chill and listen to you talk all day, over. We can just chill and listen to you talk.
I always worry I talk too much.
I think I've been gone into all season.
No, because it's a good chilled stream because there's no football on. You know what I mean? And
it's nice. It's nice to be able to come and talk about somebody else's club as well for me. Because when going through best 11, Leeds 11, love it. That's because it's memories for me, especially with, you know, obviously I had to go through the legends because I know full well what they mean to the club, but you can't ignore them. And they'll be the same for all of us on the screen at the moment, wouldn't it? But going through the more contemporary ones, that's the ones I really enjoyed because I remember them playing. Love talking about Gary McAllister, Gary Speed, and Gordon Strachan, that midfield quartet that won the championship. What a cracking little side that was. Really was. Memories, isn't it? It's playing good football and winning something. What more can you want?
Totally agree.
Yeah.
And James, the Tottenham fan, saying it as well. He's never seen us win a trophy.
Yeah.
How sad is that for a club the size of Spurs, or Leeds, or Newcastle, or Villa, or you know Everton? No fan of these sort of clubs should be saying that. When you get to about the age of 16 to 20, you should have seen something.
Yeah.
Or at least getting really close to it. People point out Spurs have got this great record and getting into finals and stuff. That doesn't really mean anything if you never win any of them. But there we go.
I'm not going to say who it was, but it's an Arsenal fan on a channel what we watch, Cuba, right? And he belittles the Carabao Cup and League Cup. He belittles that he don't think they're good enough for his club, and that's an Arsenal fan.
Delusional. Sorry. My opinion is that person's delusional.
Surely it's not Jez.
No. It's
Jez.
Jez
comes in here
on the Tottenham channel.
Jez would have an appreciation of a trophy's a trophy.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Jez is the real one.
Yeah, Jez is fucking solid. Josh says it as it is. He's a real one.
It's Stefan. It's Stefan. He belittles the club.
Oh yeah, I've seen him. It's not somebody I listen to.
Why said that though? But it's not.
No, he belittles that he thinks that Arsenal should be going for Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues.
So basically, he's saying it's beneath Arsenal.
The cups are beneath Arsenal. Yes.
It's such an easy counter to that, though, isn't it? Look how many times Manchester City won the League Cup. Pretty sure I saw them celebrating each one of them.
Exactly. Any trophy in that cabinet.
Sure, Liverpool celebrated the Carabao Cup that they won in January. Sure, we did the watch one for that, Stu, when they celebrated. Yeah, and they celebrated. So.
I watched
a trophy's a trophy when all said and done. Don't be fussy.
This is before I was on the channel. Even I watched that and know full well Liverpool celebrated because I celebrated it.
They celebrate with it Community Shield. What are you giving it nowadays? A trophy's a trophy. Maybe if the FA Cup magic wouldn't have been taken out of it, people would celebrate the FA Cup a little bit more. But because that sparkle's been taken out of it, it is what it is with trophies in general.
Do you know what I think the FA Cup's become such a lesser trophy? Sorry, go on.
No, I'm saying no offense to that person. They are delusional. No team is beneath a cup game.
Mutants.
Yeah, I mean, if your club's big enough and you've got a big squad as well, you should be trying to win every single one of those trophies every season.
Exactly.
So I mean, this is why I always laugh at it when people say, they lose a major semi-final or something, and then they'll use the phrase, "Oh, we've got bigger fish to fry." No, you haven't. This is one of the fish you've been trying to fry. Don't ignore it.
Exactly.
I agree.
But I mean, I looked at West Ham winning the bloody Conference League, and I thought, I would have had some of that.
Yeah.
A trophy, innit?
Well done, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Because
I'm sure Tottenham had snapped their hand off for that Conference League.
And when Jose left us, went straight back to Italy and won the Conference League as well. Was it Conference or Europa? I forgot which.
Yeah, Conference League. Yeah, they did win Conference League, Roma. Yeah.
And you watch the Roma fans. Oh my God, the crowds, the celebrations. It was amazing. We have some fans who go, "Oh, it's only the Conference League, Mickey Mouse." Did that look Mickey Mouse to you? Didn't to me.
Nice.
But guaranteed though, them same people that are saying that will lose their mind if you won it.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Double standard. It's double standard. It really freaking is.
But that's
Bobby
in football. You find that.
It's not often I have to call out Bobby K, but he's saying the double's still on. Oh, do you mean the double this season? Yeah, it is. Tiger Cup and League Trophy. It's still on. Come on.
I'm sure you'd be happy to lift any trophy.
Yeah,
be it a little trophy or big trophy. Big, you know, like
just it's club legend Steve Perryman on his podcast. When he was talking about what it takes to win trophies, and he said the hardest thing in football when it comes to being successful is to win that first trophy, because that's the one that gives you belief to go on and win others.
And win the rest, yeah.
So I will take a Conference Cup. I will take a Carabao Cup at this point, but I won't take those and then just take the foot off the accelerator, like, you know, job done. It's what Big Ange said that I totally agree with. He's not looking to win a trophy. He's looking to build a legacy. He wants to be here and win lots of trophies.
That's what you want.
Every club in the country should have that as an objective. Yeah. Obviously, you've got to then be realistic about what your stature is. I mean, you know, Darlington aren't going to suddenly be winning the Premiership in 8 years. Doesn't matter how ambitious they are. It's what football is. It's otherwise it's an insult to fans.
I agree.
Yeah, look, they love winning stuff like the Checkatrade Trophy and stuff. It's the trophy at the end of the day.
It's silverware, as they say.
Bragging rights for fans.
Exactly, it's true.
Oh, cheers to Benny Holden as well, who's giving me a shout out there.
I don't know where Benny's come from, but I will say one thing. Big up to you, mate. I've not seen you in chat before, but you're welcome in here anytime, mate. I've never seen you, mate, but welcome in.
I think it goes with the same for anybody on this stream. We just love football, don't we? So
yeah.
If you've seen other teams playing well and you remember those times, you can talk about them. It's good stuff.
Always have a good conversation about football when it's respectful and everyone listens.
I'm all for this. If Colin wants to come on and a couple of us want to come on and talk Leeds, we can do that. You know, before end of season, call Angels, you know, Bobby, James, a Tottenham fan, and we'll get a few on and we'll have a debate. You know, it's always good to do. But on that note, I am going to wrap this stream up because I've been going 3 hours and 6 minutes and I've got to be up in the morning to do the Leicester game indeed. But I just want to say a big thank you to all my guests tonight, Stu and Lee, Coover, Stacey, myself, and obviously the main man, Danny Rumsey. We will do more of these if that's what people would like us to do. Tomorrow, Jamie, I'll just get that one out there before I go. I'm going to do the Leicester West Brom game. Then I'm going to do Wolves Arsenal. James, a Tottenham fan, will be joining us for that stream, me and Stacey. And then obviously it's Late Night Live with the quiz at 10 p.m. And Sunday, if you want to know, Everton, Nottingham Forest, Coventry, Manchester United, Liverpool, Fulham, double watch along. So make sure you join them for that, guys.
And thank you for having me.
No problem.
Always welcome, Coover. Absolutely always welcome on the channel.
You're always
thank you to each and every one of them.
You're always respectful.
Well,
tomorrow, I'll just put it out there.
Entirely respectful, not all the time.
Tomorrow we'll put it out there.
You always look at it this way. If it's good, if it gets a laugh, it's worth saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say tomorrow, Late Night Live, it is no football whatsoever. Tomorrow, it's a laugh, a joke, comedy, fun. Football stays at the door at 10 p.m. tomorrow. Sorry if that offends anybody, but people moaning that midweek we're going into Saturday. We've kept it all midweek football, but tomorrow's our chill out. That's time for us to enjoy, have a laugh, relax, let some steam off. So please don't be offended, but football is football. You know, swinging bras round head, knickers round heads, whatever you want. It will be. Big up to Benny for joining us, James, Leeds Angels, Jamie, of course, Bobby K. Everybody's welcome in, indeed. I'm going to wrap this one up now. I'm going to get myself off to bed because I'm up early in the morning with Stacey. But I just want to say a big thank you again to all my guests that's joined us. Please check Coover out at 3 Spurs Boys. Go and hit a subscribe over for him. Stacey at the Mum Overlord on YouTube. Obviously, me at JSY Talks Football. Stu at the Disabled Team. And the main man, Lee Statham. 135 subs he's got. Let's get him on the road to 150 for his quiz before the end of the football season this season. Please go and hit a subscribe over to Lee Statham TV and the 3 Spurs Boys. Coover. Big up to you all. Good night. God bless. I'll be back from 12:15 tomorrow. Make sure you're checking me out tomorrow. Good night. And there's only one thing left to say, and it's a goodbye from me.
Oh, muted.
Muted.
From me.
It's a goodbye from her.
And for a change, come on, Leeds.
Leeds. We're marching on it together. And just to get it out there, come on, you Spurs. There you go.
Yes.
Big up. Night. God bless.